G'day and welcome to Mildura, the capital of tropical North Victoria, where adventure awaits you around every bend. But unlike Queensland, you don't have to worry about crocs. Epically wide river that goes forever. Perfect for water sports. Your next adventure is in Mildura and it's just a short flight away. We'll see you there.
No cameras, no complex calibration, just targeted, effective chemical application. Hardy Geo Select.
The psychological health and safety culture of your workplace is vital to the success of your organisation. Are you addressing psychosocial hazards in the workplace? Learn to create a positive mental wellbeing culture where your business and your people flourish through our in-person, live online and self-paced e-learning courses. Scan and visit our website for more information.
Introducing the Hardy Sarator 7000 with advanced comfort, convenience and efficiency. This class-leading sprayer now moves even further ahead. The Hardy Sarator 7000.
Global Camel is back. Global Roto Mouldings still offer our trusted rainwater tanks along with exciting new products like diesel trailers and on-site diesel tanks where quality meets innovation. Global Roto Moulding, Coolong Avenue, Irimple.
Good morning and welcome to the Mildura Senior College, day number 3 of their Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale Tri-Series Tournament. Pat Silcox alongside of Peter Walsh, and Peter, a bit of a delayed start with some rain locally in Mildura this morning, but it looks like we're set for an 11 a.m. Kickoff for this first T20 this morning.
Good morning to you, Pat. Yes, I've brought a friend with me today. It's called a croaky frog, and it's been around the place for a while.
Yes.
I've slept in my same hotel room as I slept in last night, and I hope it'll go away because we've got so much excitement that lies ahead in the next couple of days. Some of the games that we are responsible for, of course, for calling, that's one thing, but we're also responsible for giving the scores of the other matches that creep along, and haven't we seen some fun and games? Weather forecast, well, I can't give you what I think will happen in Mildura, but I know we did get some spots of rain that became a little heavier throughout the evening, but it's good that they're going to start. The only concern that I've got is that the match committee, they sit down and they make a call, which is a good thing. Of course they'll do the right thing, and the players will be of paramount importance. There's a lot happening in their players' lives in the next few weeks.
There is, yep.
National championships, and then of course that World Cup in Sri Lanka. Let's hope that the weather can be clearer and they can get some good cricket in right throughout the day.
So the status of this one was that we saw the Australian Pavillion win the toss. They've elected to bat first. This 11 a.m. start, our opening batsmen in yellow, Kieran O'Connell and Richard Gabb. And opening up for the spot on strikers, Neil Grice. So lots of colour out there this morning, Walsh. You've got the fluoro green and the Australian yellow.
Looks good, doesn't it?
Looks fantastic.
And we might have something happening today that I would thought no one would have ever thought this was possible. I saw Doug Walters walk past earlier on, and he was adorned in some different colours. He looked very bright and headed into the change rooms. And I reckon he might be about for a while. So we'll see if we can get Doug to have a chat, because what a thrill for all the players that would be aware that Doug is here and showing his presence, and what a luminary man he was when he played cricket for Australia. And if we can get him up to the microphone, I'm sure we'll have some fun. But we'll do our very best.
So keeping wicket for the spot on strikers is New Zealander Matty Everest. And as you mentioned, it's going to be Neil Grice who will be in operation from the school end. Overcast, good conditions to bowl. As you can see, the fielding team have got a lot of towels to keep the ball dry. The outfield still is a little bit moist after the rain, which started up, I reckon, around about 5 this morning, and then a secondary shower at around 7:30, 8 o'clock local time.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to, with conviction and authority, stress the amount of time when rain was falling. I'll give you the tip, mate. I wasn't at 5 o'clock looking for or hearing the rain falling. I was just still throwing some Zs into the system after the Sydney Swans scored that magnificent victory in the grand final yesterday. A stunning performance, 18-12, 120 to the Sydney Swans, 9-6, 60. Celebrations, Chris Fagan, well, what a guy. Superman, oldest coach in the system. And congratulations to him. And spare a thought for John Longmire, who just couldn't get it together. The players had another off day in a grand final, and they'll lick their wounds and feel pretty ordinary about it for a period of time.
Yeah, they will. They'll look to bounce back and try and make the big fight again in the 2025 season, as we're set for play here on this Sunday, day 3. Gab is advancing, and he can find some space just behind the corner on the onside. Kieran O'Connell was a little bit slow out of the blocks there. He had to get going quickly, the big guy. Makes it through safely.
Just making mention too, what we'll do is we'll go through the draw for today where the other games are being played, but also the ladder, only one unbeaten side at the moment, Team Thunder. And if all goes well, they'll play a game of substance today against EV2 Cricket, and they are at the moment in second spot on the table. So 1 and 2, in effect, it could be a preview of what we might see early next week. You never know, but it's all good.
Got a hosted team sitting there with 2 wins and 2 losses. The RJR All-Stars, also Saxon Kings, Australian Pavillion, who we're having a look at here. So Connell's hitting aggressively through the offside. It seems to be running okay across that outfield, and we'll get to the boundary for 4.
It was a good shot too. Timed it perfectly. We could get a few comments from the man who jumped on the heavy roll and was zooming around out of control earlier on. Anthony Telfrey was loving that, wasn't he?
Yep,
Every childhood's dream to drive a heavy roll around a cricket wicket.
Master of his own elements, Anthony Telfrey, about an hour ago.
Yes.
Looking very comfortable, perched up on top of the roller. As we just wait for the ball to come back to Neil Grice, who's in operation at the moment from the school end here at the Mildura Senior College.
Other games today, Saxon Kings against RJR All-Stars, Team Thunder against EV2 Cricket, and of course Lightning Storm are playing Sandgropers. And we'll give you plenty of scores.
So Connell is back and across and trying to force that one backward of point. Chris Howes is our umpire from the school end in the first session here this morning. Just keeping an eye on the live scoring at spiritedcricket.com.au. Peter, just the one game at the moment being scored, so maybe a bit further of a delay to some of those other fixtures this morning. Nice shape from Grice as it goes away and past the bat of O'Connell through to the keeper.
Yes, you know, you have your moments that you'll relish forever and you wish there was someone else there with a camera. I was walking back from having a light meal last night and walked past the window of one of the local hotels.
And O'Connell is timing beautifully through the onside, and it goes away for another boundary 4. So no real signs early, Peter, that there's any issue with that outfield. 55 metre roped off around the ground. It is still running pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good first over. But just make mention, there was a tap, tap, tap on the window, and I looked, and there he was. My father's hero on
Kevin
one of
Douglas.
mine. He was sitting there having a quiet one, and one of the umpires there was with him, and they were just resting up comfortably. He wasn't late, but it was so good to see them, and good to see Dougie spending all his time. Hoggy had to zip off and do other things in other states, but Doug's been about, and whenever he goes, people want to go up and say hello.
So Connell initially advancing down the wicket, then forced back into his crease. So that is the end of the first over. And the Australian Pavillion are none for 9. O'Connell is 8 from 5. Gab is none from 1. And they'd be happy with that start after winning the toss and electing to bat first. in this first T20 of day number 3 here at the Mildura Senior College.
Yes, that table, Team Thunder 8 points, EV2 Cricket 6 points, RJR All-Stars 4, Saxon Kings 4, Australian Pavillion 4, Lightning Storm 4, Spot On Strikers 2, and the Sandgropers the only side yet to have picked up a couple of points. But there is some time, and we hope that these weather conditions are going to be okay for the duration, because the cricket so far has been extraordinary. Just some of the stats that we can spit out at you. Simon Nish has accumulated 238 runs, marching to centre of the wickets that he's been playing on, and hasn't he been out of this world? He's hit 26 fours and 10 sixes. He's had some fun, hasn't he?
He sure has, as Kelvin Scott will start up from the southern end, New Zealander who we saw plenty of during the Tri-Series tournament. Richie Gabb is on strike. Interesting to see if the conditions will dictate what sort of target will be set here. We have seen some scores of 200 plus on this wicket square in the last 24 to 48 hours. So you think Australian Pavilion will certainly be looking for around 200. As Scott makes his way in. Gabber's taking that one around the corner behind square. I'll get through for a couple. A little bit of a fumble on the field. The ball's proving a little bit hard to get hold of down at the backward square boundary. That might have been Mohan Ratnaikar, who just needs to dry the jukes off a little.
He does. He does. Gabb's done well in this series so far too. Got an 80 in the first game, and he's accumulated 122 runs. And he walked in this morning and was having a chat to us in the scoring area. And he said his bones were a bit creaky, which is fair enough. So if his bones are creaky, he just should hit boundaries so he hasn't got to run. He just works that one away on the onside, hits crisply and cleanly for a single, moves to 3, O'Connell 8, no wicket for 12. How difficult, and you've played the game at the level of substance, Pat, to make a call on what's the best thing to do if you win a toss and the wicket has been covered over during the night.
Well, I wonder whether the Duckworth Lewis has potentially come into the equation, maybe the thought of some rain a bit later on during the game. It might be better for the team that are in the field during the second session. Maybe that was the Australian Pavilion's line of thinking. Or it might just be the classical runs on the board, Peter. Maybe they just want to get in and make a big one.
Yep.
And set a big target for the spot-on strikers. Some late tail back into O'Connell, who's quick to let the umpire know that there was a bit of bat on that before it hit the pad.
I wonder how the Brisbane lads fronted this morning, or whether or not they just kicked on. They had a few functions to go to, and I reckon they're heading for Fitzroy this morning to one of the old hotels. And how good would it be then to be one of those who had followed Fitzroy and was concerned, as we all were, that might be it. The side that's been around for so long might have just disintegrated, but there'd be a few tears from some of the old Dodgers, and it was always a good sign when Fitzroy was playing, and they had some wonderful players too. So hope they all enjoy themselves today.
Scott is bowling that one into the wicket. It's turned around the corner there by Gabb. Leisurely single. Did hear a bit of discussion about Richard Gabb prior to the broadcast starting, Peter, and of course he did play as a substitute for Australia in one of those Tri-Series games, so he pretty much played every single one of those games along the journey. And now he's backing up into day number 3 of this T20 competition.
He's leaning on the bat and I think taking some weight off his, I'm not going to say his ageing body, but his aching body, because he's been up and around. And of course, as a wicketkeeper, all of the exercises that you do, and he's a wicketkeeper of substance too. There's no doubt about his prowess in that aspect of his game. He's enjoying himself at the non-strikers end as there's a play and a miss outside the off stump. Good delivery. Through it goes to the keeper. 2 overs down, none for 14. This match is being played between the Australian Pavilion and Spot On Strikers at this superb venue at Mildura Senior College. And a few angry clouds giving considerations to dropping some precipitation on us, but we hope it's not going to be too much, Pat.
As we continue to monitor the spiritofcricket.com.au game day site, try and keep on top of the other fixtures that are happening this morning. It looks like nothing other than this one that we're broadcasting has got underway. As it's Neil Grice once again coming in from the school end. That one's angled into the left-handed Gab, and he can only just defend away onto the wicket square there. No run.
Lads were out in force last night too. The booze bus was there, police all over the shop, and doing a wonderful job too. A lot of extra people in Mildura for all sorts of reasons with the long weekend, but well supervised by the police.
Gab is opening up on the offside, and he'll get the ball away to the boundary. So, as we did see through that try series, he's a busy operator, Richard, isn't he? He loves to tick that scoreboard over. He's taken his total now to 8 from 6, O'Connell 9 from 8. And we're midways through this third over. Score is none for 18. Run rate is 7.71, and the Wasp has got them down for a tally of around 169 at the end of their 20 at this stage.
Good to see the Wasps up and running out of bed on a Sunday morning. There's Gab hitting the ball high in the air out backward of point, and catch is taken, but a disappointment too because he didn't quite get hold of that. Might have been leading edge and up, but it sailed high, and if your mother was orange and your father was green, well, that green out there is very, very nice, the colour itself, but that's a good breakthrough.
Yeah, beautiful catch there by Jamie Pitt. As we have a look at the replay once again, Gab swinging through the line. Maybe just got beaten by a lack of pace there, and Pitt was pretty happy that he hung on to that one. So celebrations in the middle of the ground for the spot-on strikers, and Richard Gab is on his way for 8. Score is 1 for 18 after 2.3 overs.
And we can paint the picture for Gab, who was just sharing a few thoughts as he walks past the new batsman coming out to bat. It looks like Leith Dawes out there, I think. And I'll tell you what, Gabby looks tired.
He does.
He does look tired. He hasn't called for a cab to get him from the middle of the ground too. But no, he looks a bit weary and loves his cricket. And he's shaking his head and saying, no, it didn't happen, but not to worry.
You had the feeling that he was looking for boundaries, not any running between the wickets to get one away, of course, in this over. But we see Leith Dawes now making his way out to the middle.
He'd like some runs too.
He picked up a 30 here in the final of the tri-series for the Australians after finding the runs a little hard to come by earlier in that tournament. So a great start for the spot-on strikers as they look to make the early breakthroughs here. Conditions are certainly conducive for bowling. Heavy cloud cover. Bit of moisture in the outfield as well. And Dawes is good to go here as he faces up to Grice. Again, some good shape away from the right-handed batsman, but Dawes dills and hits the ball out into the offside. So as we can see, the towels are in operation by a lot of the men on the ring, just trying to keep that white RJR ball nice and dry. It's a nice line of length again from Grice.
Irfan Hashmi, who is in control of what's happening with the Australian Pavillion team, and he'll be popping in at the end of this over for a chat. And we're reliably informed that Dougie Walters hasn't been asked that he'll be seconded, but he will be seconded. He'll get up here and have a chat, which will be also very exciting for us.
End of 3 overs, score is 1 for 19. O'Connell is 9, Dawes is 1, Grice has 1 for 13 from his 2 overs.
And we can now get Pat to jump out, and it won't be for long because Irfan Hashmi is going to come in and sit down and have a chat with us. It's 1 for 18 off 3. The Australian Pavilion playing spot on strikers. The man out, Gab, caught Pit Bulgrice for 8. Wicket falling with the score at 18. And one of my favourite Beatles songs was Yellow Submarine. This is yellow, this is gold, this is a very, very bright top, if you don't mind. Irfan Hashmi, thank you very much for popping in and saying hello.
Yeah, good morning. Washi, that's an honor for me to be sitting with you at this beautiful oval for this inaugural Spirit of Cricket national competition. And,
Absolutely.
And I'm loving every minute while I'm here in Mildura.
So you've done a lot of things in your life in terms of cricket, but this one is a bit special. And tell me about what's happening in Adelaide with your museum. What have you got down there that you'd like people to pop in and say hello?
Yes, that's true. As a tragic or cricket lover and sports lover, I like to make friends. And for that purpose, I come up with an idea of establishing a sports memorabilia museum, which comes quite interesting for a lot of people who are connected with sports from their careers.
So it's not just cricket?
Not just cricket.
Okay.
I have a heart for soccer as well.
Okay.
So a little bit about soccer. It's like 90% cricket and 10% soccer.
Who's your favourite cricketer?
Wasim Akram from Pakistan.
Oh, right.
I've been grown up in that era when Wasim
Waqar
was...
Yunus and
Yes.
Salim Malik and
Yes.
Intikhab Alam and Inzamam ul Haq and Amir Sahal and Saeed Anwar, etc., etc.
You got all the list. Yes, and Imran Khan was one of the cricketer which we have seen when I was a child, and he was the winner of the World Cup in 1992
Yes.
at MCG, and that actually changed the cricket culture in Pakistan at that time.
Okay, so how did you get involved in this wonderful cricket that we're seeing being played, but more importantly, specifically with the team?
Yep. Telf is one of the friends with my another friend, Dr. Riz
Yes,
Latif. He
yes.
plays veteran, and he introduced me to Telf. And this opportunity looks like a great opportunity to engage Australian Pavilion, which is the name of our sports museum. And I just thought, let's do it. And I'm here today.
Where actually is the museum in Adelaide?
At the moment, physically is not established, but we have done quite a few exhibitions.
Yes.
And we have locked a place in Wakefield Street in city.
Oh, that's in the city, that's good.
And hopefully we'll get that spot very soon. The negotiation undergoing, and
Yes.
we will establish that on Wakefield and Frome Street corner.
So with a museum, there are a couple of things about the museum that I'd like to find out about. Is it a place where you want people to go and look at what you've got, or go and look and perhaps buy?
The first intention is to look and enjoy. I don't think that I have a capacity to sell a lot of items because I'm also a cricket lover and
Yes.
cricket collector myself. And if I have things like maybe 2 or 3 of the same items, then probably yes, we can sell to those
Okay.
who want.
What made you decide to take the next step now? And I'm not going to say it's a comfort zone when you've got a museum, it certainly wouldn't be, but to be so involved in one particular franchise?
As I said earlier, that making friends is one of my hobby. And,
Yes.
and as a pharmacist, as a community pharmacist, I think I'm working in this country from last 22 years, and I made friends, so many friends, because of cricket connections. And I see this as a greater opportunity. I can mix with interstate people like with this competition, and I met so many people here since last 3 days, and someone said to me yesterday at the pizza bar that, Irfan, I just noticed that you are going and meeting everyone. And what's the catch in that? I said, look, I like to make friends.
Yep.
And that's the beauty behind that YOC Pavilion is here today.
Where were you born?
In Karachi, in Pakistan.
Karachi, when... How dare Pakistan, with Inzamam ul Haq and Mushtaq Ahmed, win that test match against Australia by 1 wicket? What a game that was. I was there watching and intently interested and got to know how the love of cricket is shared by Pakistan and India when they play against each other. It's pretty good. But did you always follow when you were in your younger days, did
Yes, I'm very proud to say that I witnessed Sachin Tendulkar debut test match in Karachi, and that was a debut match for Waqar Yunus as
Yes,
well.
yes.
That was one of the biggest hat in my feather in my hat, and yes, I've been involved watching cricket and playing a little bit cricket. But my son, who was born in Pakistan when we moved here, he developed such a beautiful love with this game, and he
Right.
played a state level and also selected for Australia under 15 indoor side when he was young. But he's now 22 years old. He's playing Premier in Hobart in University of Tasmania Club.
Wonderful. What's the biggest difficulty or the biggest challenge about looking after a team, being in charge of the franchise and getting them together, learning their faces, learning their names, etc., learning how they play their game, and you want to know them as best you can? How tough is it?
It's not easy. It's a challenge because it's new for me. And Leith Davis is a very, very good personality in our team as a captain.
Yes.
And he helped me a lot as a local who represented Australia at this level, at veterans level. And by his help and the communication from Telf was making is a bit easier.
We've still got relatives back in Pakistan?
Yes, I do. But all of my brothers are
All
here.
of them. How many have you got?
I got 3 brothers who
Okay.
live in different parts in Australia, and most of them are connected with pharmacy work.
Yes.
And
So you were credentialed as a pharmacist when you were back in Pakistan?
that's right. And I requalify here. My wife is also in the same profession, so we both are registered pharmacists here in Australia since 2005. So
Gee,
it's like
you've
18
been here a fair, and you're still here to stay?
Yes, yes.
Good. So your wife gave you a leave pass to come and look
That's
after
right.
the cricket?
And immediately after this commitment, next job is in October first week. I'm having Yunus Khan, the great Yunus Khan, arriving here in Australia on my
Yes.
special request to do a meet and greet dinners in Adelaide on 4th, in Melbourne on 6th of October, and in Sydney on 11th of October. So we're having great Yunus Khan here.
That's
as
wonderful.
as a community engagement activity.
Yes, yes. I'll give you the score in this game that's progressing. It's 1 for 26, nearing the completion of the 4th over. O'Connell 11, and Dawes is 3. The man out, Gab, for 8. And as we speak, its ball is thumped backwards of square, and it's a good shot. It'll go to the fence for 4. Dawes with the beard, he's on 7. O'Connell without the beard, but with the bat, he's on 11. It's 1 for 30. So this, of course, is a franchise that you're spending a lot of time that you can spend with them, and the next couple of years have been sorted out too. Telf telling us that we've got contracts for the next couple, so you'll be involved for at least the next 2 years.
I'm willing to, yes, wishing to, yes, as is a beautiful competition, and the friendships that I'm developing here is look like very nice.
Yes.
Very nice people, very gentle people here. Like I spoke to a few fellows this morning, and for my museum love, I actually arranged some bats, 8 bats. So every team is signing a bat for me.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
And 2 bats, especially just designated to the captains to sign those bats.
Right.
So I circulated 2 bats just on the ground one, I think. The bat.
Yes, yes.
And yep, I have a bat here, just giving to our opposition team today, and the rest of the bats will be done in a couple of.
What's,
tomorrow.
as far as you're concerned, with the museum, which we understand will be up and running as soon as possible, but what's the best piece of memorabilia you've got? It'll test you.
As a Pakistani follower of Pakistan, Imran Khan used jersey that was collected by a fellow in Queensland, and he's a big collector. And
Yes.
he got that back in 1989.
Well, that's a fair way to go.
Yes, and I got that from him. And a cricket bat used by Imran Khan back in '86 in Lahore, I got from one of his mates that was playing with him at that time. So I got that bat from him.
So you've just got to keep looking to see what's floating around,
Yes.
and see if you've got enough cash in hand to be able to put it in your museum.
Yes.
Is it expensive out there?
Yes, is sometimes if it's very unique, like things from India are very high prices because the Indian market of collectors are paying a lot of money, and yes.
Sir Donald Bradman, of course, with a batting average of 99.94, and of course South Australia, and everyone knows about Sir Donald. Have you got anything in the
I
museum
got
from
so many things from Donald Bradman.
signed?
Signed,
Yes.
and yes, I got I think 8 or 10 bats from Donny, and one bat was signed by the whole team Invincible series from 47. So I got a bat signed, and I collected from a Queensland fellow, and I look for things like people who have a lot of collections, and some of the stories that I learned from collectors is that a common thing which I found in talking to so many collectors is that they have a regret in their heart that they haven't shared that
Yes.
joy. They always want to, but they didn't have a time. They kept those treasures item in the cupboard, on the offices, and I just noticed that by talking to so many, and I said, let's do the museum. Why not? And I'll put this into the public access. It's not about money making, it's about public access and enjoy and have more connections.
Right. So as we come to the end of this interview, when do you think the museum will be up and running so people can go and have a look?
Look, I'm aiming for November this year.
So far away.
Yes, it's very close, yes. The Euroscan event that we're doing in Adelaide, we're doing quite a big exhibition at the event, before the event starts. We're trying to put around maybe 30 items there, majorly the used bats from great legends. Viv Richards, Sachin, not Sachin, I don't have a Sachin's bat, but I have Ganguly's bat. I got Ricky Ponting's used bat. I got David Warder's used bat. Our local hero, Travis Head.
Yes.
I got a hold of his bat as well, just from recent IPL when they finished and they flew to World Cup.
Yeah, what do you think of his 154 in
my
50
God.
over game?
That's, I mean, he changed the how cricket is played in this competition.
Yes.
And since he was making runs in the IPL, like 5 overs, 100 runs partnership.
No, fair call, fair call. Scoreline here is 1 for 37 after 6, O'Connell 5 and Dawes 10. The man out was Gabb, who was caught by Pitt off the bowling of Grice for 8. The score at 18 when that wicket fell. It's now 1 for 37. What do you think of the Adelaide Oval?
Beautiful ground for me, and you know what? I choose Adelaide when I was coming here to Australia just because of Adelaide Oval, the love that I developed as a young child.
All right.
When the test match between Australia and England, if you recall that test match, in '89 when Imran Khan and Wasim made 100 runs,
Yes.
and both made 100 and 200 in partnership, they saved the test match. So that was the time when I've watched that match many times on television, many times on YouTube, and I fall in love with the beauty of Adelaide Oval. And when I had a chance to come to Australia to study, I would have been gone to Canberra or Adelaide. So I choose Adelaide because
It's a
of
bit
the
warmer than Canberra. Just a little bit.
but the love of Adelaide Oval is
No, that's true.
amazing, and I'm a member there from very early time when I arrived here. My whole family is a member. We love to watch even the Shield game as well. We go there, and I'm also one of the committee member with South Australian Cricket Association for the multicultural purpose.
Yes, yes.
I was elected there. And,
It's wonderful. And a final one for you, when we were talking about the Adelaide Oval and then talking about your recollections of Karachi. That's a little different. There's no lidded Karachi, as is the case with the Adelaide Oval, with grandstands all over the place and a magnificent scoreboard, etc. But there's so much cricket involvement in Karachi. I spent a couple of months there. And there's cricket everywhere. People say, we'll bowl and we'll bat and we'll field. It wouldn't matter on the street corner or out in a paddock. It didn't matter. You didn't have to be at a cricket ground. It was the love and the passion of cricket. And fans of Pakistan are plentiful.
Yep, on the street, no boundaries, no grounds. They make that happen. And I grew up playing cricket on the road surface, the hard surface. And as we learned that regardless of the pitch, what are the conditions are, we learned how to swing the ball. That's why I've become a little handy bowler for my team wherever I played.
Yes.
It's like I know how to move the ball in
Move
the
the
air.
ball around, yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
and as a pharmacist, I would say that I use my collections or cricket collections to elderly houses, like where retirement village. Wherever I go as a pharmacist, I take some item with me as a pharmacist.
Right.
And discuss that my pharmacy thing, but I discuss about my cricket
Right,
collections. And you know what? Everyone loves that.
Okay. Well, you might be able to go back to where you were staying at the hotel and bring some Barocca back for me, because my throat's a bit on the wonky side, so I can look after, or you can sort me out with medication. Thank you so much for coming in. It's a real thrill to be able to talk to people who are involved in so many ways, and the franchise that you're involved in and the colours that you wear are so impressive, and we can get a little happy step there. We did. Thank you, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your day and tournament, and we'll of course be keeping in touch too, because this is on the road, this one, for a couple of years, and it's really a thrill to be able to chat
And
with you.
thank you very much for having me. And I would like you to invite for the Adelaide show if you have a time on 4th of October with Yunus Khan event in Adelaide. If you got time in the evening, please connect and join. And you will love to have a small chat with Yunus.
Well, what a wonderful invitation, my friend, and thank you so much. And look, you take care, and I appreciate you popping in and saying hello.
Thank you.
How about that? It's wonderful to be able to talk to people who love their cricket so much, and the amount of time that I spent in Pakistan, gee, I tell you what an amazing place. Lahore, places like Gujranwala, Rawalpindi, Islamabad, Peshawar, and then across the Khyber Pass into Afghanistan, absolutely everywhere, and it was all good. So what a thrill to be able to speak to the man who knows so well, Irfan Hasham, who's now popping out, and Pat popping back in to say hello, with the score at 1 for 45 coming into the 7th over, with O'Connell on 15 and Dawes on 15. And thanks, Pat, you've been very receptive there, because that was a quick one. We weren't sure that we were going to get an interview straight away, but when someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, you can interview this man, I said, well, that's a really good idea, but I've only got one question. Who is he? What a lovely man, though.
Yeah, Irfan Hashmi, he's obviously involved with the Australian Pavilion setup, and he's pretty proud about what they've been able to achieve and put together over this T20 competition. Now, I do believe that Doug Walters is standing by too, Walshy, so he won't be too far away. I'll jump out again. You can have a chat to Doug in the next over or two.
Thanks for that. And we won't be talking to Doug for too long, because he's got to have a quiet one. No, I didn't mean that. Didn't mean that. But this is developing into a pretty steady stand to get the score up to 1 for 46.
Yeah, had a bit of a shower there about 5 minutes ago. The players and umpires have elected to push through. It's Jamie Pitt. He's in operation from the southern end. Dawes is getting the ball out towards the man on the point boundary. They'll get through for a single.
He's nodding to Todd, who's going at 1,000,000 miles an hour to our left. And Todd said the most difficult part of his journey to Mildura and journey to this venue was, why do some of the bananas have red blobs on one end?
Yes. That was a question for discussion, wasn't it, earlier this morning?
Well, I just moved on from that. I had no idea. Do you know why?
No idea either. No, I didn't spend any time at Woolies during my junior career, so I can't vouch for that.
No.
Haven't stocked any shelves.
No, true enough. True enough. Now, what I'll do is I'll wave, because that's the completion of the over, and I'll get you to, if you don't mind, just have a chat about what has happened, and I'll make sure that Doug comes over and says hello.
All right, so score is 1 for 49 at the completion of 8 overs. O'Connell has moved to 18 from 23. Dawes is 16 from 18. And a tidy start from Jamie Pitt, none for 4 in his first over. And it looks like Peter is going to get the great Doug Walters on for a chat, so I'll jump out once again.
Thanks, Pat. And what a thrill to be able to have a chat to a man of substance and a cricketing icon. And I'm being very selective with words, but Mr. Likeable. And whenever you mention the name Doug Walters, people relish the possibilities of having a listen to his dulcet tones. And I'm not going to talk too long, I'll just ask questions. Doug, welcome to another game of cricket where there's been a bit of rain. I reckon you'd sat in a pavilion on the odd occasion when the rain's fallen.
Yeah, normally the cards are out by now, Peter, but the boys are braving it out there and doing a very good job too.
You've seen a lot of cricket since you've been in Mildura.
I have. I've watched more cricket, I think, in the last 2 or 3 days than I've watched in my life. Like,
What were you like as a watcher? Like someone that batted in the middle order or maybe a little bit further down or maybe a little bit further up. But what were you like sitting in the pavilion with pads on waiting to go out?
no, I wasn't a very good watcher, I'm afraid. I had to be doing something, doing a crossword puzzle or playing solitaire or something to fill in my time rather than watch. I mean, I always sat in a position where I could see if I wanted to see what was happening out there.
Yeah. Did you get nervous?
Oh, everyone gets nervous, but I don't believe in worrying about things until you're actually confronted with them.
Right. And now, the senior men in the teams, the captain and vice captain, was there an intention from them to give you advice as to what you should be doing when it was your turn to stride to the middle?
Not really. No, I don't think so. I don't know whether I'd have taken any notice anyway. They probably thought that they'd be only wasting their time.
You had the flair for entertainment. When you marched out into the middle of the playing grounds around the world, we knew that you weren't going to hang around for long. You were going to be on the move. Was it something that in your young days when you were learning the game and you were playing in Colts and you're doing all those things and travelling around, you were always an aggressive batsman?
Yeah, pretty much. I think I always believed in the ball was there to be hit and hit as hard and as far as you could hit it. But sometimes it paid off. Lots of times it didn't.
Yeah. And hitting the ball was one thing you did brilliantly, but also when the ball was thrown to you, I don't know whether we gave you enough credit for the figures that you were able to sort out when you came on as a change bowler.
Well, all my success as a junior, as a kid, was with the ball. I mean, I batted number 8, and we only chased 18 to 20.
Right.
That was all, and so I didn't get too many hits.
No.
So I used to open the bowling, and I had a lot of success with the ball. But yeah, it wasn't until I played my second Shield game that I got 128 against Victoria. I thought I'd better concentrate a bit harder on the batting caper.
Can you remember who the bowlers were back in those days? Did you have favourites? Did you have heroes?
I did have heroes, but my heroes were sort of overseas heroes.
Were they?
Because I had an elder brother and an elder sister who were always Australia when they were playing our test matches in the side veranda or the backyard. So I had to be the opposition all the time. So yeah, my heroes were blokes like Freddie Truman and Brian Statham.
Oh, okay.
Wes Hall and Charlie Griffiths and those sort of guys that I ended up playing against.
Did you get to know those guys? You think of Wes Hall, you think of Charlie Griffiths, you think of the West Indies and the speed merchants that they had. They had so many of them. Did you get a chance to have a chat to them when a day was done at Test cricket and find out how they ticked?
Oh, very, very much so, yeah. I mean, I played my first Sheffield Shield match against Queensland. Wes Hall opened the bowling for Queensland in that game. And he never got a chance to bowl at me in the first innings. Brian, I got knocked over for 1 in the first innings by Barry Fisher, I think his name was. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the second innings I got 50, and I faced Wes for several overs. And I'm ready to duck under every ball that he's bowling.
Yeah.
And he's kicking off the side screen there in Sydney, and he never bowled me one short pitch ball. I mean, he did make up for it in test matches in years to come. But I did ask him, I said, Wes, do you remember that first game that I played? He said, of course I do, man. I said, how come he never bowled me one short pitch ball? He said, man, you're only a boy. I don't think that holds water anymore.
No. But tell me, were you scared at all? I'm being careful about this. You're allowed to be nervous, but when you see someone, as you said, pushing off the sight screen and then generating some incredible speed just in the run-up, what was going through your mind when you thought, he's going to let this fly soon and I've got to be very, very cautious about what I do?
Yeah, well, I had to be because, I was pretty inexperienced at facing. Well, I don't think anyone was experienced in facing bowlers of that pace. And Wes was very quick in my early days. It took a lot of adapting, and I don't know about scared, but a little bit wary on occasions.
I loved it when you were chatting with us at a function a few nights ago and you were talking, and there was a lot of admiration when you were talking about players like Freddie Truman and like Wes Hall, and you can make a lot of mates, even though you're playing country versus country. I could understand that if you had a gathering of people to a dinner party at one of your places at Dungog, you wouldn't have a hall big enough. There'd be a lot of people who'd want to say hello to you, Doug.
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but it was nearly written in down thing that at the end of the day's play we grab a couple of bottles and go down to the opposition room, or they'd come into our room, depending on who spent the most time in the field that day as to who went to what dressing room. But unfortunately that doesn't sort of happen anymore.
No.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with having a couple of drinks at the end of the day's play. That tends to diffuse those bombs. They're diffused overnight. they don't sort of build up until they come to a head eventually.
Have you got a lot of England friends, former cricketers?
Yes, I get along very well with a lot of the English players. Derek Underwood probably more so than most of the others. And unfortunately, we lost Derek just recently. So that's another Christmas card that I won't be getting.
Oh, well, in this day and age now, when the phone goes and someone says, "Oh, did you hear about so and so?" It's normally to say they've passed away.
Yeah, that's very true, unfortunately. And I was talking to Neil Harvey.
Oh, okay. How old's Neil now?
Neil's almost 96. He'll be 96 in October. And I was talking to him. I rang him up last week, and I said, "How's Doug Walters?" I said, "How you going?" He said, "I'm going okay." He said, "But I'm losing all my mates." I said, I'm a little bit worried that you've still got mates at the age of 96.
You know, some people, when they stepped onto a cricket ground, maybe their temperament was totally different. Maybe they got angry pills and they went out there and they were pains in the backside. Do you reckon you changed at all when you were a competitor, when you played for not just New South Wales but for Australia?
I hope I didn't. I don't think so. I don't think I did. But I loved every second of it, win, lose or draw, and that was the way things went.
Doug Walters, our special guest here at the cricket. It's 1 for 65. The match is between Australian Pavillion and Spot On Strikers. After 10 overs, the score is 1 for 65 with the Australian Pavillion team losing the wicket of Gabb, who was out for 8. It was 1 for 18, but they're getting themselves going now. Now there's so many forms of cricket, Doug. You know, you love your Test cricket, I know that. But then you've got the Big Bash, you've got Sheffield Shield, you've got 20 overs, you've got 50 overs. You've got so much. Is it hard to find the handle and know exactly what would be your right choice if you were told you can go to any cricket game against any countries in the world and you can make the decision as to how many overs they have to bowl in that game?
Yeah, I'd still prefer to play or to watch even Test cricket.
Really?
I mean, there are the forms of cricket are getting shorter and shorter, and shortly T10 is coming into vogue.
T10.
I was talking to an Indian guy who's got it well and truly on the radar not long ago, and the bowlers, it'll be a bit like the baseball where the pitchers don't bat.
Yes.
The bowlers don't bat. So they'll have a batting team and a bowling team, and they'll be paid. The batsmen will be paid by the amount of sixes they hit.
Really?
And the bowlers will be paid by the amount of dot balls they bowl.
That is extraordinary.
So it is extraordinary, isn't it?
And, you know, when you think about that, Simon Nishu's had a wonderful start to this particular series. He's got 2 centuries with 2 visits to the crease. He's hit 26 fours and 10 sixes in his 2 visits to the crease. He scored accumulated runs 238. But people love the big 6 and the big 4.
They certainly do, and Nisi, he hits them pretty good. I tell you,
He does.
I saw his first century. That was against the spot-on strikers, and he never missed too many. I tell you, very good on the onside.
I watched you walk through this morning. What do you do in the rooms when you're talking to the players? You say with affection, spot-on strikers. You've known all the blokes there. What do you do? What's your role?
Oh, just tell them to go out and enjoy themselves. They're not necessarily here. It'd be lovely to win the competition, but they're not here. Their number one aim is not to win the competition. It's here to have fun and meet good friends and enjoy the atmosphere of cricket.
Yeah, good call. I'm not going to hold you up for too much longer, but I'd just like to find out now, and a lot of people appreciative of you sitting down and having a chat to us here at this venue. How are you doing? How's the health? You're getting around. It's good to see you here, but how's Doug Walters going in 2024?
Oh, yeah, I'm going okay. I got a bit of deep vein sunburn. I'm not sure whether I've been flying too much or sitting down too much, but
You don't like flying, do you?
no, I don't mind flying. I don't mind flying. I've been known to have a couple of beers on the flight just to ease those nerves. But
Yep.
no, and my back is playing up a little bit. Apart from that, my health is, spot on.
Yeah. And still follow the cricket as closely as you can?
Yeah, pretty well. In my hours, I mean, I don't stay up all night and watch cricket anymore. But I'm looking forward to the season coming up here this year with India out here. I think a series against India and a series against England are 2 of my favourites. So,
Yep.
and we always have a close series against India in Australia, so I'm looking forward to that.
You got a favourite Indian player?
Oh, Kohli, I'd say, like most. But their bowling attack is very, very good, isn't it? Now, I mean, there was times when we played against India that their bowling was very medium pace. But now they've got some.
That's true.
They've got a couple of really good quick bowlers, haven't they?
And with the test playing nations around the world, and they're always playing tests. As a matter of fact, Bangladesh beat Pakistan in Karachi recently. You're never too sure as to what the results will be. Did you enjoy touring away from Australia? Did you enjoy getting away from our shores and letting people know around the world, dotted in test playing nations, that you could play the game so well?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed the tours. Yeah, I had 4 tours of England, and England is my favourite country to tour as a cricketer. Even though my results weren't all that brilliant in England, the worst of any, but there's something about England. I mean, the good batting wickets, you won't get better anywhere in the world.
Yes.
And you get some pretty ordinary ones too, and mixed up amongst that. So when you're batting number 6, it's pretty difficult to go out and score hundreds when you're already 4 for 400 by the time you get to when you're 4 for 20 on the ordinary wickets, that's when you do have to put your head down and try and make a few.
You get the chance to, as there's a wicket just as we speak now, the stump's being knocked out of the ground, and the score now 2 for 73, coming up towards the end of the 11th over. 2 for 73, O'Connell out for 29, bowled by Smee for that target. And just to wrap it up now, I know you've got lots to do and we appreciate you having a chat. Australian players, in and out, you're never too sure when you're working on who's going to be playing in the test match, or is the spin of Adam Zampa going to bring him to a lot more wickets? And Shane Warne, of course, had the magical number that he took. But are we healthy? Are we healthy there with players that are putting up their hands to play for Test cricket for Australia?
From what I see, I mean, I still do a little bit of coaching with the kids at a younger age, but unfortunately we don't get to see too much of the up-and-coming Sheffield Shield cricketers or whatever on the television these days as we used to. So it's pretty hard to judge, but I'm sure they're there, and I'm sure they'll continue to come through.
Where are you off to when this tournament finishes?
Oh, well, I'll be back home for a little while, and I'm out and about doing the odd talk here and there, all around the countryside. So, yeah, I look forward to that as well.
All right, and as I said, though, the text messages flowing through thick and fast, and one of them that has been repeated on a few occasions, and I need to ask you, and before I let you go, it's Dungog. You have to tell us a little bit about what's been happening, and the big story, of course, is that there will be something that is of deep and meaningful to you as to what's going to be built at Dungog.
Yeah, well, I get back to Dungog. I've been living in Sydney for a long, long time now, and I get back there. I take a team of guys, and I say a team of guys, about 40 guys, twice a year.
Right, from where? Where do they come from?
Oh, from Sydney, some from Brisbane.
Oh, okay.
All around.
All mates.
Yeah, and a couple, one or two's come from Adelaide.
Right.
So yeah, they come over, and we have a good weekend in Dungog twice a year.
So where do you go on a weekend to have a good time?
Oh, we just to explore the hotels and the clubs around town, the bowling club, the golf club. We do get out on the bowling green and the golf course.
Okay.
So yeah, they will have a great time, and but these guys that I take up there, they got their heads together and decided that there should be a statue of me put in Dungog, which they'd organised through with the local council.
That sounds impressive.
And my son was largely in on this, and he decided that he'd better tell me because I'd find out eventually anyway.
Right, okay.
But what they didn't tell me was that the council didn't have the funds to pay for the money, that I had to pay for it myself.
Oh dear, that's a shock to the system.
So we've had to do a little bit of fundraising, and fortunately through some donations and a golf day that we had just recently, we've been able to raise some dollars to pay for that statue. And
So what's the statue? Is it going to depict, say, David Hooks playing a slashing drive through the covers? Of course, the sadness of losing David at such a young age, but there's some magnificent statues right around Australia at all of these major venues like the MCG, the SCG, the Gabba. What is it going to look like when it's finished?
It's more of a cut shot. We had to dig up some old photos that you could actually see my photos. And we got a fellow, Louis, from Melbourne, who done those statues around the MCG.
Okay.
He's doing this particular statue. I went down to see him, and he took all these photos. I said to him, I said, I don't want the statue to look like I'm looking now. So he's hard at work, and he's well on the way with that statue.
So when's that going to be finished?
Well, hopefully just after Christmas, I would think.
And so that'll be a big day for you, won't it?
That'll be another big weekend. We might have to have an extra weekend in Dungog that weekend.
Oh, that's fantastic. And look, you're such a humble person. There's no airs and graces about you. You just speak the way you see things. But that is other people saying, we need to do this because of the reverence that we have for this man who's given us so much enjoyment, not just as a playing person for the Australian cricket team, but as someone like now to sit down, have a yarn, have a talk about what's good, what's bad, what's indifferent. And that'll be a day of substance for you. There'll be, I reckon, a few tears, Douglas.
It could easily be. Yeah. No, I'm very grateful to all those guys who that even had the thought to do all that sort of. But we have a lot of fun. I enjoy their company, and hopefully they enjoy mine.
Well spoken. Well spoken. Doug Walters, our special guest here. It's 2 for 79 in the 13th over with Dawes on 31 and Haseman on 2. And that, of course, is in the match between Australian Pavillion and Spot On Strikers. Now, sit tight for a sec because Pat's going to come back into the commentary box. And you're going to have a salad roll for lunch here, Doug, you know?
Yeah, okay.
You'll get that?
It'll be nice.
Now, I saw you last night. You realised that was me who banged on the pane of glass at the hotel you were having a quiet one at?
Yes, I did. I was there busy watching the football.
Yeah, now tell us about what happened with rugby league last night.
Well, the Panthers, as expected, they had a victory over the Cronulla Sharks.
Yeah,
They're in the grand final next
against Melbourne Storm.
week.
And just a word on the AFL Grand Final, where an incredible performance by the Brisbane Lions, 18-12, 120. They won by 60 points over Sydney, 9-6-60. That was not a good day to remember for John Longmire and the troops.
No, certainly not for the Sydney. Their record in the finals the last 2 or 3 haven't been all that brilliant, unfortunately, for the Swans. But I'm sure they'll bounce back again.
They will. Now sit tight for 1 second, Doug, because I'm just waving to Pat, who's going to come over and jump in, and I'm going to get a happy snap with you, and that's going to be an absolute guarantee. So bear with me at 2 for 82. And if you could just tap that man on the shoulder. Next one. And Pat's going to come back down now and have a chat. It's the best way that we can do these things is we can hit people on the shoulder. Pat's going to take a photo with myself and Doug, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you, Pat. You've got to look that way and smile, Doug. Pat's very good, you know. He's all over this sort of stuff, this social media stuff. Smile, Doug.
He's a pro at it, isn't he?
Good on you, Doug. You're an absolute star. A thrill to talk to you the other night. We'll talk again before this tournament's over. 2 for 83. Doug Walters.
Thanks, Peter.
Douglas Walters. I'm not sure what you know, but still an absolute star and a real thrill to be able to talk to Doug today. Pat moves back into the system and Doug pops out demonstrating his amazing support for cricket and still demonstrating his amazing support despite the fact that he's been off the scene as a player for a long time but hasn't lost his wit and hasn't lost his ability to tell a story. Pat, thank you for that too, because we needed to get to Doug. I think he wants to go and have a beer somewhere. So
He wasn't calling his name out at the bar there, I reckon.
Oh, what an absolute star. Absolute star. Yeah, 2 for 83. Have a chat to us.
So a partnership building here between Dawes and Hazeman as Dawes is advancing and striking confidently out into the offside. And that's another one of those balls that looks like Walsh has snuck through the rails of that fence.
Yes.
Which will need the key to open up the gate around next. It's actually into the school grounds. So I'm sure one of the boys is going to be keen enough to hike it up and over the top of the fence.
That's true. Now, whilst you're chatting away, I'm going to grab Telf. He doesn't know this is happening, but it's just to explain to us about what the setup is with rain, or how long do we stop, or Duckworth Lewis, anything as such, because our information sharing is one of the exercises that we like doing. And I'll grab him before he ducks away.
Sounds fair, Walshy. You get a bit of a update for us. We have played through a few showers so far in this opening session, as we can see some enterprise from the spot-on strikers, boys, as they've taken one of the big teardrops out over the boundary on the other side there of the Deakin Avenue side, and they've just reached through and retrieved the ball. So that's a clever heads-up bit of play from the spot-on strikers. So 2 for 87 in this 15th over. Dawes is 37. Timmy Hazeman is the new man out in the middle. He's got himself going nicely, 4 from 6. As we look to get underway once again. So Williams is in operation from the school end. Once again, Dawes is advancing and hitting down on the bounce to the man on the long off rope. Nice bit of work there by Jamie Pitt, who's been busy and active in the game. And we're going to have another quick switch up here in the combox as Anthony Telfer, who's been a very busy operator this morning, has got a little bit of advice and information for us as we continue to push through these conditions. Telf, it's been an interesting start to day 3, hasn't it?
It definitely has been. I just need to find my radio head now because I'm running around and while she's going, Telf, you need to come here right now. And it's like, okay, I'm here.
So we're underway here in this fixture, of course, which started an hour later at 11 this morning at the Mildura Senior College number 1. Now at the back on the MSC2, they were a little bit delayed, but they are going, as far as we know, behind us. And I think one of the games out of the Aeros was adjourned due to some conditions that the umpires weren't overly happy with. So that game's been abandoned. Is that right, Telf?
That's correct. So the EV2 game, and I'm been put on the spot here, but the EV2 game,
Team Thunder.
the Team Thunder has been called off, which was on the Aero front oval, and I'm unsure at this stage whether Saxon Kings and RJR All-Stars are going to have a game. So they were going to have a look at the wicket at potentially 12:30. Oh, amazing piece of fielding on the boundary there. Simon Tape, one of the most athletic over 50s cricketers here in Mildura.
Moves well, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Yeah, so we'll wait and hear from, I think they were just going to do another pitch inspection at about 12:30 to see if they can get a T10 game up for that game. But so Team Thunder and EV2 are just going to pick up 1 point for obviously a cancellation of the game.
So that'll take Team Thunder to 9, EV2 Cricket to 7. So that potentially opens up some opportunities for those teams sitting 3, 4, 5, which is the RJR All-Stars, Saxon Kings, albeit if they get on, and Australian Pavillion. So they'll look to set a good target here, and they could well and truly move themselves up the points table. 2 for 94 in the 15th. So 5 overs to go. Leith Dawes has got himself settled nicely out there at the moment. He's joined by Timmy Hazeman. And we saw earlier, of course, a good knock from Kieran O'Connell, who collected 29 from 36.
But yes, this morning has been a pretty tough morning, Pat, with obviously all the rain overnight. I heard the rain on the roof at about 4 a.m. and woke up and sent a text message to Lee at 4, the curator down here at the senior college, and they put the covers on last night here at 10 o'clock with help from the Mildura Settlers Cricket Club, and so that's why we've been able to get on and play some cricket here. I believe most of the rain's now moved away, so we should see a rain-free afternoon. But yeah, magical work here. Unfortunately, Sarah Oval and Turf 2 were just out of action. There's water everywhere on the square there, and it's too muddy, whereas the grass cover here is pretty good.
This Mark Smee continues from the southern end. There's another 2 on the board here, as Hazeman gets through comfortably at the non-strikers end. So Leith Dawes is looking really nice out there. He's not far away from his half-century now.
Yeah, that's great to see, because he had a pretty tough trot during the Tri-Series for Australia A, and it's good to see him showing his class coming through in this competition.
So he's back and anchored into the crease. Can't score as he tried to force away on the onside. He did, of course, get that 32 in the Tri-Series final at this venue, so that was the one that really got him back on track, and no doubt he enjoys the scenery, the viewing out here at Mildura Senior College.
Yeah, I had a bit of a chat with him during the Tri-Series, and he said, look, I've been training indoors all winter on hard wickets, and it was just getting used to the conditions, playing back on turf. So obviously he's now got his eye in. As we see a play and a miss outside off stump, and a great piece of work. I think that's Matt Everest behind the stumps there. So great take by Matty Everest. Here's a replay.
Leith was just all over the crease there trying to put the bowling off. In the end, probably did himself a bit of injustice because he was off balance trying to play the shot. This time he's hitting the ball nicely down towards the man at long off, Neil Gross, who gets it back into the bowler. So our Wasp is suggesting Telf 1-4-3 at the end of their 20 overs. I think they're up around the 160, 170 mark earlier, so this has been a good bit of work from the spot-on strikers just to bring this run rate back a little.
I'm surprised they're not going harder. Obviously, with only 2 wickets down, ideally they should be looking at 10s and 15s for the remaining 4 overs. So, that puts them up around that 140 mark, doesn't it? Or more.
Yeah.
If they can get, 15 and over, they're up at 160, aren't they?
Hazeman will look to build here through the back end of this third power play. It's a full-length ball outside the off stump as he knocks it down towards the man at backward point. Another single. So end of the 16th, the Australian Pavilion have knocked up their 100, 2 for 100. And good stand underway here currently between Leith Dawes and Tim Hazeman. Partnership of 27 from 24 in 15 minutes. As the boys enjoy a little light refreshment out in the middle. Dawes is 46 from 44. Hazeman 8 from 9.
I've just received a bit of a message from someone down at the indoor pool here in Mildura.
Okay.
Apparently Team Thunder are having a swim, spa and sauna as we speak.
Well, there you go. Taking advantage of their layoff in the first game this morning.
Yeah, I think the Team Thunder now are just preparing themselves for the big one, which, if everything goes according to plan, they should make. With obviously 2 games to go. If they pick up one more win, I think they're through to the final.
Yeah. We'll get one more game in this afternoon and then the final preliminary round at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, Telf, ahead of the final.
Yeah. It's going to be an amazing day tomorrow afternoon to watch 2 teams going hard at each other after 3 or 4 days of cricket, playing for that $5,000 winner's cheque.
Hazeman's back and across and he's able to pierce the field there on the offside. They'll get through for 2. Ball has proven at times a little bit greasy to get on to out in the outfield. A lot of the boys have got the towels paraded out in front of the pants there. Looks like it's Neil Grice who's back into the bowling rotation, who opened up earlier this morning, coming in from the school end. Hazeman is heaving away. It's the ball out backward of square. And again, another 2. So they're getting the 2s almost every delivery, Telf, with very minimal risk at the moment.
Yeah, they are. They definitely need to be looking to score some boundaries now, and they need, obviously, a couple of 4s and over, which will get them up around that 15 over mark. But it's great to see Gricey. He's made, or Grum, I think his nickname's Grum, coming over from Hobart.
That one's zipping through to the keeper, Matty Everest. It's a fair haul to get here from Tassie, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And Grum was part of the Australian team that went to the World Cup. Or actually, no, he didn't make the World Cup. He was part of the Tri-Series up in Queensland. And unfortunately, being obviously one of the quicker bowlers in veterans cricket, he was in the nets prior to that tournament and someone bounced him and hit him in the ribs and broke his ribs, so he didn't actually get to play. But it's great to see him back out as we see a magnificent piece of fielding down on the boundary line by Jamie Pitt.
Yeah, he's had a great week and a half in Mildura. He's obviously filled in a couple of times during the Tri-Series and acquitted himself very nicely.
Yes.
He's bowling once again today. Was right on the mark as we watched that one in replay. He was almost overrunning it, Jamie. Managed to just double back and get down low to prevent it from going over the rope. Hazeman swinging out to the man at long on, and that is a very decent catch as it got down low towards the ground. Beautiful bit of work out in the deep there by the spot-on strikers. And reward for Neil Grice as he picks up a wicket. Catch taken there. I reckon Paul Webber's our man at the long-on boundary.
Yes, no, great catch by Webber. Diving down low to his right, I think it is, as we see the replay here. Plucked it.
Almost got away from him at the end, didn't it? He did well to control it. As Tim Hazeman makes his way off the ground. Caught Webber bowled Grice for 14. Score is 3 for 106 now. Back end of this, the 17th over, as Graham Crawford is charging out to the centre.
Yes, one of my best mates, Crawf, from Adelaide. Also a motor mechanic by trade, so he looks after the Ford Ranger for me and
keeps it mobile.
He keeps me on the road. So I love watching Crawf bat. He's also the captain of our T20 Legends team in Adelaide, where we go and take on the private schools and the cricket clubs that our T20 team play against. And he's a pommy, and he plays his cricket very, very hard.
Yep.
Plays to win. He also cops a lot from me because he loves his pommy English team, and obviously I love my Aussie team. So we're at each other through social media all the time, just checking in when the other one wins and the other one loses. I check in to see if he's okay.
I feel like we've had the better of them for a period of time now, haven't we, the Aussies?
We have.
Crawford straight away into his work as he pushes down the onside on the ring. Will pick up the single. So 17 complete, 3 for 107, 46 from 44 for Dawes. Crawford 1 from 1. Grice has the tidy figures of 3 overs, 2 for 19. So 3 overs to go, Telf. 107. Gee, they'll be doing well to get to 150, I reckon, maybe 135, 140.
Oh, definitely will be. And I've just got to take a quick phone call, Pat, so I'll leave you to take on the call and I'll get Walshy back in.
Thanks, Telf. Got the hottest phone in town at the moment with a lot of curators and players asking of where we're at status-wise with the conditions, with that overnight shower and some early morning rain to go with it as well. So 17 overs, 3 for 107. As Peter Walsh rejoins us in the broadcast position.
Hello, Pat.
Nice to have you back, Walshy.
Oh, it's good fun to talk to Duck. You could talk to him forever. Just a nonchalant man and no airs and graces, just someone who enjoys life. And enjoys his cricket too, doesn't he?
Yeah, once he got his Sydney Thunder clobber on there, he's enjoying almost blending in with a spot-on striker. He's got a very similar hint of that fluorescent green.
Yes, and he was quite happy to cruise over and have a talk about the life and times of. Yeah, good man, good man.
Dawes is trying to get that one through the gap there at cover, but man on the ring did a nice piece of work, Graham Gibbs. As Mark Smee continues through into his fourth and final over, 1 for 18. Just hard to tell that they were on track for that sort of 160, 170 mark, but now you'd reckon 140-ish would probably pull them up.
Yeah, very true. Yes, things can change. Obviously, the precipitation that we had during the night. People keep talking about they heard the rain at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, and I'm thinking to myself, it's probably a good idea if at 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock you're asleep.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Yeah, me too. But I did hear it at 5. It did make me stir. It's a fuller length ball is swung away out towards the man. Nearly hit me for 6 sign there at deep mid wicket. Another single for Crawford. He's certainly ticking the strike over. 3 from 4 doors, 47 from 45. So the Hills Flurio man is closing in on a half century here, Pete.
Would like to get over the half century too. Good start to his dig, 47 or 45 as you suggested, and hopefully didn't get over the 50 mark.
As he's playing down the ground, and it will go all the way for 4. So there is the 50 for Leith Dawes.
He'd be happy about that too because he has high standards and he hasn't reached those high standards, but getting the 50 now, that'd be a big one for him.
Yeah, had a tough trot during the Tri-Series, but as I mentioned to Telf about 5 minutes ago, got himself back on track with that 32 here in the final last Tuesday. As this time he's stepping across his stumps and he's bowled neck and crop. As you can see, the middle peg has been forced back there by Smee, who's taken his second scalp. 2 for 23 in his 4th over, and Dawes is on his way for 51. Score is 4 for 114.
We'll get a replay of that and we get a perfect view of it too. Well done to the troops there who are punching out bits and pieces. Good on you, Todd, because that's a ripper. We saw the lights, and the lights, of course, in the stumps. They look good, but it was a perfect ball too. He just played across the line and got cleaned up after we were all excited about how well he was batting, and then he decides that he'll go out. But he's getting a good round of applause too as he leaves us for the half century.
A bit of information to update you with, Peter, while you're away, and that we did learn the game between EV2 Cricket and Team Thunder was abandoned due to conditions which were unsatisfactory. So both of those teams will take a point out of that as they move on into the second game this afternoon. Now, out behind us, a later start for the Sandgropers and Lightning Storm, but they are underway at the moment. 9.3 overs. Sandgropers are 1 for 44. And there was another game that was scheduled to get underway at 11, which we, at the moment, don't have any information about. So that one potentially might not get a start as well.
Well, from the Team Thunder's point of view, they pick up a point and move to 9. And the side that is in second spot, EV2 Cricket, they pick up a point and move to 7. So those two sides looking the goods at this stage for maybe, hello, how are you? Let's go Monday afternoon.
In saying that, though, Walshy, some of those teams sitting 3, 4, 5, they can pick up 2 points here. Can just narrow the margin, certainly to that second spot. As Crawford is getting down on one knee, but not really getting the ball to go where he wanted. As it just comes back to the man on the 45 on the onside. New man at the crease is Mildura local Tony Hickey. Middle to lower order batsman, bowls seam up, a good in-swing bowler of note here locally for many, many years. And he's straight into his work as he's heading out towards the man at long on. He's quickly through the first. He'll get back for 2. Tony also, Walshy, a fixture at the Imperials Football Netball Club, coached them through an amazingly successful reign during the 80s and 90s. Still looks in pretty good shape, it must be said.
There's longevity in people that get involved in the sport and they coach and they coach and they coach and they just don't want to give it up because they love it so much and they give so much to the game.
Hickey is elevating the ball in the air and into the gap on the offside, so pick up a boundary. That's what they're looking for here at the back end of this third power play. 4 for 121 now, 18.3 overs. Hickey has got his score along to 6. Crawford is 4. Grice is just trying to seal his deal here as part of his 4-over spell. Has picked up a couple of scalps, 2 for 26 so far from 3.5 overs.
Right. And just repeating the news too, that match abandoned, the game between Team Thunder and EV2 Cricket, the match abandoned.
Hickey going down the ground once again, picking up a single to the man long on. Paul Webber certainly in the action the last 10 or so minutes. Took a nice catch, low to the ground.
That's a good catch, wasn't it? Yes.
Not long ago, but he's certainly seeing the ball coming his way. It's being one of those sweepers down the ground. Crawford also elevating out on the offside. Chase out there for Pitt, but he's up to the challenge. As he fires it back into the bowl. So 2 more to the score for the Australian Pavilion. 4 for 124 now. 1 ball to go of this, the 19th over.
Yeah, 10 off the over so far, so it's been something that's required, and to score runs off this last ball and then to get double figures for the last over might be handy.
One bowled into the wicket. Looked like it might have just passed inside that blue line, but the umpire's got his arms spread-eagled, so it's a wide. So 1 more to come from Neil Grice, 2 for 30. He's ticked every circle in his bowling analysis column this over. Maybe he can finish off with a big red W. Just about one of everything. Crawford is timing nicely out to the man there at backward square. John Gary, the Kiwi, doing the job nicely in front of the fans as he gets the ball back into keeper Matty Everest. And that will see the completion now of 19 overs. Score is 4 for 127. Crawford is 8. Hickey is 7, beg your pardon. And Grice finishes his 4 overs with 2 for 32.
And that's something that nobody would have seen before, says he now, who's looking to fill in 20 or 30 seconds. We've just seen a Kiwi roll over at the Mildura Senior College Oval. And he rolled over, and that piece of fielding was as good as we've seen all day. That was magnificent.
John Gary will be a key man with the bat in the second session for the spot-on strikers. Saw a few glimpses of him in action during the Tri-Series. Very technically correct, times the ball well. So just a reminder that the Australian Pavilion did win the toss, elected to bat first here. They're probably going to finish maybe about 20 or 30 shy of what they would have hoped for, I reckon, Pete.
Yes, they lost an early wicket at 18, but you'd think that 140 odd would be handy, but not quite within reach, you think, with 1 over to go.
Simon Tape is going to bowl the final over. The ball's a hit out there towards Crognale, who does the job nicely on the ring.
I've never heard a surname. No, I'm being careful about what I say here, but Crognale, that's an unusual surname, isn't it?
I'm hoping I got that right, Walsh. I went with my instinct there. Bit of gut.
You did well.
Crawford is playing out to the offside. I'll just push through for another single. So still no real sign of intent to take the ball to the boundary or even beyond it at this stage. Run rate at 6.67 currently, so it's been a really good second half of this innings from the spot-on strikers to pull things back a little. Hickey is swinging and missing to a ball that maybe didn't quite bounce as much as he was expecting. Going through to the keeper, Everest. So 3 balls to go.
4 for 129 is the score. Just repeating the news that the match between Team Thunder and EV2 Cricket was abandoned because of the weather and because of the track. And that being the case, it means that each of the 2 teams pick up 1 point for the abandonment of that game. Team Thunder now on top of the table, still on 9. EV2 Cricket on 7. And we have a look at RJR All-Stars on 4, Saxon Kings on 4, Australian Pavilions on 4, Lightning Storm on 4, and Spot-on Strikers on 2. So things could happen.
Just seen a wicket there. Tony Hickey run out at the non-strikers end. Great bit of work from Jamie Peter, who's been so busy. As you can see, Hickey was sent back. He dashed to get into his ground. It was pretty tight in the end. The umpire was right on the mark and has sent Tony Hickey on his way. Let's have another look here. We'll go from the bowler's end's view. Oh, I reckon he might have just put the bat over the line in the air and not on the ground. That might have been the thing that did for Tony Hickey there. So he's on his way for 8. Another important breakthrough there for the spot-on strikers. It's the score now 5 for 129.
And Pat, I think he knew that too, with the ball, with the willow not quite staying on terra firma. Umpire in perfect position to adjudicate too.
Crawford is trying to swing it away out towards the mid-wicket fence. All we can do is come up with a single. I think it's Anton Balaam who's now at the crease. He's got number 13. I had him as 15, so just a quick adjustment there to your notes, Walshy.
Anton, is it?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Having a chat to Todd from the Be Live crew here. We've got a still shot at the bowler's end of that run out. And we're thinking that he maybe not out, but head of the moment. The umpire call it as he saw it in real time as we get through the end of this first session. 20 overs completed and the Australian Pavilion 5 for 131. And run rate is at 6.55. There's our still shot, Walshy. You can just see the line of the zing bail going off there and the bat. Gee.
It's a tough call, isn't it?
Very, very close. I felt that he might have just had his bat in the air, but I think he might have just been fractionally short. So great work from the Be Live crew to get us right in the thick of the action of that run-out replay there.
It's like when you've backed a greyhound. It's in the red box. It's jumped straight to the front when they swing for home. All of a sudden, how dare that number 8? What's it doing down the outside in pink? And they flash to the line. And it's so hard to call. That in itself, there was a bee's knee in that result.
So a quick look at the scorecard from this opening session. Richard Gabb was the first man out. Caught pit bowled Grice for 8. And Kieran O'Connell bowled Smee for 29. Tim Hazeman caught Webber bowled Grice for 14. Leith Dawes was also bowled Smee 51. His half century coming from 47 deliveries with 5 boundaries. Tony Hickey was run out for 8 and our not out batsman Crawford on 10. And Balaam not opening his account, and so it was the Australian Pavilion finishing at 5 for 131 at the end of their 20 overs. Quickly through the bowling cards, and we can see 2 wickets apiece for Grice and Smee. Grice 4 overs, no maiden, 2 for 32, and Smee 4 overs, no maiden, 2 for 23. Wickets falling at 18, 73, 106, 114, and at 129 as spot-on strikers now leave the field after having a brief address. I think they'd be pretty happy with their work in that opening session, Peter Walsh.
I think they would be, absolutely. They walk off and delicately look after their muscles, which will be tended to because they've got some workers down there who are doing the necessary rubs to half-naked bodies. But they're doing that because the bodies are half-naked because the cricketers need to take off their tops, as is the case with Leith Dawes, who is getting looked after. Maybe he could get his beard manicured at the same time, do you think?
That would be good value, wouldn't it? Just quickly before we go to this innings break, we can let you know that out the back on Mildura Senior College number 2, the Sandgropers are 3 for 53. Just started the 13 over out the back behind us here. Mildura Senior College. Zani made 27 at the top from 35. Broomhall and another Crognale at the crease. So Broomhall 3 and Crognales 1. So not a bad start for the Sandgropers as they continue to chase that elusive first victory, Walshy.
We'd like to see them do that too. We'd like to see them get across the line and have a mark in the points column. We'll take a break here now from our venue at the Mildura Senior College ground with that score 5 for 131 Australia Pavillion. We've discovered that the arrival of the salad rolls has been greeted with a standing applause at the back of the box and a couple of bananas that have red blobs on one end of them. Not sure why, but I'm sure that Todd will find out before stumps on the end of another day of substance. It's a Sunday where 1812, 120 Brisbane, Sydney, 9660. You can read that out as many times as you like if you barrack for Fitzroy or the Brisbane Lions. We'll be back very shortly with a continuation of our coverage of plenty of cricket here in Mildura.
G'day and welcome to Mildura, the capital of tropical North Victoria, where adventure awaits you around every bend. But unlike Queensland, you don't have to worry about crocs. Epically wide river that goes forever. Perfect for water sports. Your next adventure is in Mildura and it's just a short flight away. We'll see you there.
No cameras, no complex calibration, just targeted effective chemical application. Hardy Geo Select.
The psychological health and safety culture of your workplace is vital to the success of your organisation. Are you addressing psychosocial hazards in the workplace? Learn to create a positive mental wellbeing culture where your business and your people flourish through our in-person, live online and self-paced e-learning courses. Scan and visit our website for more information.
Introducing the Hardy Sarator 7000 with advanced comfort, convenience and efficiency. This class-leading sprayer now moves even further ahead. The Hardy Sarator 7000.
Global Camel is back. Global Roto Mouldings still offer our trusted rainwater tanks along with exciting new products like diesel trailers and on-site diesel tanks where quality meets innovation. Global Roto Moulding, Coolong Avenue, Irimple.
won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop. You sure you can handle? Okay. We can take my Lambo. I'll put on a tight check. You sure you can handle? We be faster than Django.
Can't stop, won't stop. I can't stop, won't stop. I can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
And we're just about ready to go for this second session of this opening T20 clash. Day 3 of the Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale Tri-Series Tournament. Pat Silcox and Peter Walsh. And the game that we're got for broadcast here is the Australian Pavillion taking on the spot-on strikers. The Australian Pavillion winning the toss earlier today, batting first. Finished with 5 for 131 from their 20 overs. Leith Dawes 51, Kieran O'Connell 29. And 2 wickets apiece for Mark Smee and Neil Grice. Now, as far as the strikers are concerned, Walshy, they're going to open up with John Garry, the Kiwi, and Marcus Williams. And the jack of all trades, Richard Gabb, is taking the new ball.
Good on you, Gabby. He's ready to start proceedings. Likes to be in the game. And he bowls a ball of full length, wide outside the off stump, and it's called a wide. And there's a hand signal there like a wind sock or wind farm, but that was a loosener. None for one off one. He tries again. Tosses up that ball. He finds a good length and has pushed away on the offside behind point, and they'll go through for a single. Good tactical ploy, or what's he doing out there?
Not sure. Well, he would have expected him to take the gloves, but Trevor Harding in the number 6 is keeping wicket for the Australian Pavilion in this second session. So he's looking to play a role with the ball here after missing out with the bat earlier this morning.
Gab, he's got 122 runs so far in the tournament. And of course, best served by his first game. He got 80, so good start. Now he's having a bit of a chin wag. There you go. You've got one from each side having a chat, and the umpire joining in as well. It's all good. Let's see what we can do now. This ball, an appeal for LBW going down leg side. It did appear. A push forward. And I can say with conviction that you're going to interrogate the man with the magic fingers at the end of this over, because what we've seen is whenever a player has been dismissed or whatever and needs to be looked after, I'd use Leith Dawes as an example. As soon as he came off, he had the top on. And I can smell it from here. Can you smell the not methylated spirits?
The deep heat.
Deep heat sounds better, doesn't it?
It does. The ball's hit out back at a point on that offside. I'll get through for a couple. So Gary is 3. Williams is 1. Score is none for 5. Do you want to speak to the great Brian Kelly? Would you like me to take that on?
No, you can talk to Brian, because I've got to chew on a banana.
Right, but one of those red ends on it, is it? Or?
No, I haven't decided which end to start at yet.
Gary is tucked up in defence and pushing the ball out into the offside.
I have to give a big plug to the man we interviewed earlier on today, who's got the museum that's going to go down in Adelaide for cricket. And he was getting a few of Doug Walters' signatures on some of the stuff, which is good. These people, they never stand still, do they?
No, they stay active. As we see Gary once again picking up another single in the offside. So at the end of the first over, he is 4, Williams is 1, none for 6, and it looks like Brian Kelly's going to come over and have a chat with us, Walshy, to go and gnaw into that banana and get yourself ready for this second session as it continues to unfold. Tub of Metzel heat rub cream, that's bringing back some memories, my goodness. Oh, it's good gear, it is good gear. As we just wait for Brian to get himself set. BK, welcome to the broadcast centre.
Thank you, Paddy.
Nice to see you got the fluoro greens on, but you've got the Bamble badge adorned proudly off the left chest there.
Yes, just saying that we're a sports trainer and here to help the guys with a bit of massage if they need it.
Now, you were busy in that opening session this morning. You had about 3 or 4 blokes up on the table.
Yes, it has kept us going for a few hours, and I'm nice and warmed up.
Yeah, I bet you are. I want to get a bit more about your involvement in this Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale shortly. It's been a great tournament so far, hasn't it?
It's been an amazing tournament. Well done to Anthony Telfer, all the organisers, all the teams, the franchises that have attended. I think we've got 200 odd cricketers in from interstate and around Australia. It's been a fantastic turnout.
So we continue on with this second over. Michael Hancock into the attack. From that southern end, Richard Gabb decided to open up. The wicketkeeper having a rest from the gloves in this session BK, and he shows us he's a man of many talents.
He certainly is. He's having a crack, that's for sure. And he's nice and warmed up, I can tell you that. So.
Now, tell us a bit about your affiliation. You're a spot-on strikers man, are you? Or are you just wearing the fluoro green just to blend in with the boys?
No, just actually in camouflage. So,
Okay.
yeah, that sends me behind enemy lines. So I'm actually the man with the pavilion. So I'm with the Australian Pavilion, courtesy of the great man Tony Hickey. So
of course,
Tony's a regular massage customer during the football and cricket season for myself, and I do a little bit of that from home, while also doing the Bamble Football Club and actually did one of the Imps boys as well before the grand final, and well called on the grand final. First time ever, I actually...
Really?
It was a dirty day, so I'd been out to watch Mildura. I'd massaged one of their boys and was a little bit frustrated they went down, so it was a very windy day, so I went home and the dogs and I were in the back garden. I listened to your call and Mitch's call, first time from bounce to bounce.
Wow.
It was amazing. Didn't see an ounce of it, but I had all the images in my head, and the way you described the one where Tip and Woody bounced off the ground and kicked that goal in the third quarter was, I could just picture it straight in my head. It was a really great call of you guys. Well done.
Thank you very much, Brian. Much appreciated. Yeah, we've been having a bit of fun on a Saturday afternoon for many, many years, and we enjoy it, and we've got a pretty good crew together too.
You certainly do, and so Tony's asked me if I'd get involved and just be here for a few days. So we sort of did 4 hours Friday, 4 hours yesterday, here for 8 hours today, and 4 hours tomorrow, and see if they can make the final. So it's just about, none of us are 21.
No.
And
we wish we were though, Brian. Let's be honest.
Absolutely. And look, all massage is you're moving the blood around the body and you're getting the body a bit more fluid and making all of your joints and your bones and your muscles all work more in harmony together. That's pretty much all massage is, We always feel a bit better after it. So, and particularly when the guys have got to go out there and play a second game or play a second innings, just getting them refreshed and recharged before they go out, I don't think it does us any harm.
Not at all. It's a great local connection too to the Australian Pavilion. You mentioned the great Tony Hickey, and Mark White, of course, Merbean cricket legend, is applying his trade in the canary yellow, as it were.
Yeah, Whitey's been also one of the people on the table that we've lowered the limbered up the lower back as Tony sprints and nearly a great save.
Yeah, it was. John Gary got into a nice position there as he hits the ball out onto the onside.
Yes, nice dive by Tony there.
Yeah, left nothing in the tank there as he really pressed hard to try and restrict the boundary, but Gary manages to get the job done nicely.
Now, speaking of which, Paddy, tell me about that. Are we okay to talk about umpiring decisions in cricket or not?
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, we had a little run-out situation in that last innings, and from the boundary line here, I reckon Tony was very unlucky to be judged out.
Well, funny you say that, BK, because we had the Be Live boys put up a live still at the bowler's end.
Right.
And, gee, it was almost simultaneous, the zing bail going off and Hicks bat. I thought initially maybe he didn't slide enough, but he was okay. But, yeah, it was pretty close. The umpire had no hesitation, though. Finger went straight up in the air, didn't it?
Had he made his decision before Tony made it back, do you think?
I'm not going to say anything either way, but it did make me wonder at the time because it was certainly not deliberated upon for very long.
No.
Tony's never out, though, as we well know.
Yes, he was a little bit frustrated when he came back to the bench, that's for sure. So all we could do is say, well batted, Tony.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing him taking the ball shortly as Gab continues.
I tell you what, I'm quite... And the great thing about this tournament is, you've got 11 blokes in the team. There's usually 15 sort of representing each
squad,
team, so they've got the squad. And I tell you what, all these blokes really look after themselves. They're all in good nick. There's that many of them that can touch their toes on the ground with their hands is just phenomenal. Their core strength, their flexibility, they've all prepared themselves really well.
Yeah, exactly right, as you say it, BK, because we've spoken to a lot of the boys through the Tri-Series and into the T20s, and they put a lot of prep in to get to this point in time, and they've still got a lot more ahead of them too, with the Nationals coming up in Newcastle in November, end of October, then obviously aspirations to make the Aussie team that'll go to Sri Lanka next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And as my great Irish father, Oliver Kelly, always taught me, prior preparation prevents pretty poor performance.
Yes, and I think you've masked that down nicely because I think...
PG version.
Exactly, in the
Not
sporting
the
terminology,
version.
yes. But no, it does go a long way for these guys.
And look, we spoke about that on Friday. We had a little team meeting before the great function that was held on Friday night where I met the two brothers.
The Nelson twins?
Oh, yeah, I met them on the Saturday
Yep.
morning. God, they were funny. And completely different characters off stage, obviously,
Mm.
but what a ripper night. But we spoke about on the Friday night, the 4 days and the big factor of surviving this tournament is going to be basically your preparation prior to the game and after the game. So, hydration, some water, and my benchmark's always been, if you drink 600ml bottles a day, you've drunk close to 2 litres of water, basically.
Yep.
Then also sunscreen, because I'm not needing it today, but, yesterday and the day before, and wearing a hat, and then you rest in between games, and then, avoiding the risks of Mildura, which is a good time, and we all know about that.
Yes,
so
we do.
Just having a bit of pasta maybe, and oh, well caught.
Yeah, nice catch. Kieran O'Connell, I reckon, was the man on the ring there on the onside as Hancock just bowled one into the wicket as Williams leant back and tried to go over the top, but
Yes.
O'Connell did it very comfortably, the big fella.
And didn't he bat well too?
Yeah, he looked good. I was having a chat. He's an ex-teammate of mine for the Salisbury, as it's now called, Northern Districts Club in Adelaide, and we played a lot of junior cricket together.
Really?
Yeah, we did. And he did spend a bit of time away before resuming up in the hills. He's looking to go and play at Goodwood for this coming season in
Yes.
the Adelaide Turf Cricket Association. But as a young 18, he was old. He was a tearaway. He was rapid back in the day, Kieran.
He's a bit like the petrol giant BP. He's a bit of a quiet achiever.
Yeah.
Doesn't say a hell of a lot.
No, he keeps a lid on things most of the time.
He does, but he's another one who's got great core flexibility. He must be about 6'2" or 6'3".
Yeah, he's tall.
And he can stretch and hit the ground with his hands. That's for sure. He's a good exponent and throws the rock down pretty hard too.
He can. He's one of the quicker bowlers in this T20 competition.
One of the younger players, would we say, in the comp?
He might have only just transitioned into the 50s, I reckon, if not this year, last year.
He did tell me he's in the early 50 bracket.
Yep. So maybe he's got that slight advantage, potentially.
I think every year that you're a bit younger is an advantage at this level, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
56 is definitely older than 52, I can tell you that.
100%, yeah. And, of course, as we've talked about over the past week and a half or so, BK, great pathways for these guys. There's over 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I mean, for those that just want to keep on playing through, they've got the opportunity.
Yeah, well, the great Richie Wild, he went away last year, earlier this year, and had a great tour, and I think preparing himself maybe for the Sri Lankan tour next year.
Yeah, he's certainly in the mix, potentially going forward for the O50s, but Mark Cleary's represented here locally, the South Australian over 40s.
Mark's had a great career, and he's just taken it to that next level as well, I think, going in that over 40 franchise arena.
Yeah. No, there's plenty of opportunities to be had for these guys, which is great to see.
But what I've really noticed too is I think we've played 5 games. Is that a catch?
I think it is.
Yes,
Around the corner.
What do they call that? Hit.
Oh, it's a short backward square, I guess, on the ring.
Square,
and
okay.
I think that might have been Rizwan Latif, the man who's taken the catch. He's pretty up and about as he gets into his team there at that conference in the middle of the pitch. As we see here, Webber was the new fresh man to the crease and just probably bounced a little bit on him there. He didn't quite get over the top of it and control it. And Latif coming in, celebrating with the high 10s, as we get one more look on the replay. Yeah, just bounced a little bit more, got the top edge.
There you go.
And nicely captured by our BeLive streaming team.
So that sort of evens up the ledger pretty well at the moment, doesn't it? When you look at the over rate and where the Pavillion are versus the strikers, I think this next over is pretty critical.
Yeah, look, we sort of figured winning the toss batting first, they would have hoped for 150, 160, around that 8 runs and over mark, so they didn't quite get there, but 2 early wickets in this opening power play has almost got the scales tilted in their favour. There's no question about that.
So, sorry, for the novice, just fill me in on what the power play actually does.
All right, so we have 3 different power plays, and we follow the international rules. So from overs 1 to 6, you can have 3 men outside of that circle, that 30-yard circle, and then from over 6 to 15, a further man outside would make 4, and then you can have a max of 5 for the last 5 overs.
5 for the last 5.
Yep.
Gotcha. Yep. So more in catching positions out in the deep.
Just trying to protect the boundaries, I guess. And we know that batsmen always liking to hit hard and long at the back end of an innings. So it looks like Neil Grice is our new man out there now, batting at number 4, spot on strikers. Oh, there's a big shout for LBW. Hancock can't believe his misfortune. What a start he's made here too. He's taken 2 for none from his first 2 overs. Had the feeling, BK, I reckon that was just heading down the leg side a little bit, but gee, it was a good shout. You get the glasses on in, you get to watch the replay.
I'm just looking to see the bloke. That's Mick, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Just
So-
going down a bit, I reckon, leg side. Can't believe it, though, can he?
He's an interesting one. So the biggest thing, apart from general wear and tear and looking after a bit of age soreness, has been the old man's injury, the baby cow,
Ah, yes.
the calf. So we've had a couple of those, and Mick's been a classic, a really good result. So it's been a bit of trial and error, and it always is as a strapper and trainer. And so we've done the Achilles heel stretch tape. So basically where you come from the bottom, so you have an anchor at the bottom of the foot, and you come up with the stretch 90 degrees, stretch it up to the back of the calf, and then 2 tears around the sides of the actual calf, then wrap that, and then you crimp it down the centre of the back of the leg, so it forms like an extra tendon, if you like.
Yep.
Then wrap that with horse tape, and his calf has held together so far. So we're 5 games in, and he's pretty happy with what we've been doing. So we'll just keep trying to get him through the next couple of games.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there from you, Brian Kelly, as Richard Gabb continues. He's now bowling with the cap on. He's got the glasses on top, so he's pretty loose, you'd have to say, Gabby, at the moment. And this first T20 fixture this morning. Day 3 of 4. We have one final preliminary round. It starts at 10 tomorrow morning, and we'll have our final 1 versus 2. Looking forward to that, with the weather certainly clearing up a little bit more for us tomorrow.
So who's in the... Oh, big hit there.
Grice is going to go 1 bounce and 4 down there towards long on, so that's a great result. Well, we did have a game that was abandoned earlier this morning that didn't get on at one of the Aero Ovals grounds.
Yes.
But those 2 teams are actually first and second, as it proved to be, so they'll move to 9 and 7 respectively. That's Team Thunder and EV2 Cricket. We've got a cluster of franchises on 4, the RJR All-Stars, the Saxon Kings, Australian Pavilion are there, Lightning Storm as well. So spot-on strikers, should they get the win here, will give us another team that would move to 4 points.
In the mix.
Yep. And the net run rate, of course, will certainly be the big dictator of the scenario for the grand final.
I tell you, it'll be interesting to know how many of these blokes, I know there's 2 blokes in our team, Leith and Gabby, have both played in that Australian...
The Tri-Series lead-up, yep.
Yeah, so they played 5 games in that, plus the 5 here. So there's 10 games in under 10 games.
It's a lot of cricket, isn't it?
10 days for... over 50s.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put my OH&S hat on, but well done to them. They're true. When we grew up, Paddy, it was the old adage, have a cup of concrete and harden up and get on with it, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly right.
And that's what they're doing today, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now, Richard actually played as a fill-in for the Australians in one of those games as well, so he probably played an extra game on top of all the other boys.
Wow.
They've had probably, across the 3 teams, I reckon, good double figures that have stayed on to play in this T20, where some of the other guys have gone back home to play their domestic stuff ahead of the Nationals in Newcastle.
But those guys that are backing up here, they're playing potentially 12 or 13 games of cricket by tomorrow.
Yep. As Gary is getting down low and swinging away towards backward square, picking up a single.
Back down to Tony Hickey with a nice throw to the keeper.
So that's the end of 5 overs. Score is 2 for 26. Might keep you here for one more, BK. We'll get Peter Walsh back shortly. Gary is 16. Grice is 5. Bit of a chance to blow the trumpet for your beloved Bamble, of course, here locally in the Millwall Football League. Another premiership this season.
It's been a great result this year. So it was a hard-fought win, that's for sure. We played Cardross in what was a very contested, physically game of football. And in my 11 years, I'd have to say it was our coach, Todd George, back-to-back premiership coach, coached us for 2 years, 2 premierships, came to us from Irimple, brought some great guys with him to our club. The 3 Hura boys were absolutely fantastic. A couple of blokes from South Mildura had come and joined us as well, and a couple of blokes came back to the club too. So Bamble's got a real good family culture, and it's got to be said that our membership, and that's a big hit, isn't it? And it's going straight to a field. Is that Zimba? Zimba takes that, I reckon.
Yeah, unfortunately for John Gary, the Kiwi, he has to depart. Didn't quite get it out of the screws. He was looking to try and hit me for 6 sign out there at a deep square leg. And we're just waiting just to see the fieldsman as he looks to swing around. He might grab his number.
It's Zimba, I only know his nickname is Zimba. He's from Zimbabwe.
Yes, so that would be Brian Goodwin. That'd be the man
There we go.
out there on the fence. Took it comfortably, didn't he? Got down low.
Yes.
Clutched it nicely just below the chest. And John Gary makes his way from the field. So an international flavour to that dismissal. The Kiwi caught by the Zimbabwean out on the boundary.
Yeah, absolutely. And he looks after himself as well. He stretches every day. But he's been on the table a few times today just to keep the body nice and fresh. And as you could smell, we pulled out the football standard Metzel heat cream today just to dial it up a bit.
Yeah.
And cool day today, so they warmed them up that little bit more.
How did the boys react to that?
Yeah, loved it. Yeah, absolutely loved it. Just it was just a bit warmer than it was yesterday. One of them forgot to wash his hands before he went to the loo, so he let me know about that.
Oh, no. Yes. Well, I've got a bit of a story on a guy that I played with back in the day in Adelaide had put a whole heap of it through his face and then forgot about it and just started rubbing his eyes and
yes.
had to spend the first half of the session off the ground because he couldn't see out of his right eye.
No, not a good result at all. That's for sure. But on back to the football thing, the Bamble Football Club. So every Thursday night in this facility where you are right now, we would have 80 to 100 people dining for dinner.
It's great, isn't it?
During the and we've got junior netball, we've got 4 women's netball teams, we've got men's AFL, and we've got women's AFL. And I'm so passionate about the women's AFL, but there's got to be some work to be done to keep it going next year because the numbers for the first time this year really struggled amongst 3 out of the 6 clubs. In fact, Nangelock unfortunately don't have a women's team anymore, and they were a great women's club.
Yeah.
And and we've struggled with numbers for women this year, so we just need to get. I don't know what the formula is to do that because my role is to provide care for the playing group. And we've got 3 sports trainers at Bamble Football Club, myself, Carolyn and Gabby. Gabby's a cupping specialist. Carolyn has been doing it longer than I have, and she's an incredible strapper and also sports trainer. And I've been with the club now for 11 years. So we've got the care factor covered to look after the playing group for both men and women. And we just need to see if we can get more women involved in the football, more girls, women to play, to get the numbers up to where we need to be, to have a full team of 22 every week. And you need to have sort of 25, 26 on your list to be able to, put 22 in the park every week. And we were able to do that, 22. And not many people know this, but we won the men and women in 19 together, which was incredible. 20, there was no footy because of COVID. 21, there was a football season, but that got concluded before finals due to COVID again. Nangelock got given the men's title that year. They finished on top, and they probably were the strongest team of that year. And 22, we actually went back-to-back from 19 with the men and the women, and that was, geez, you should have heard the noise in here that night. That was pretty big.
Could imagine.
And to go and the women that year were, how's this, Paddy? 24-0 at half time the wrong way.
Wow. Turned it around.
24-0 and ended up winning by 12 points. So it was the most incredible game.
Yep.
And anyone who's been around the women's footy to watch it develop, they have come such a long way. Women involved in footy put the time in more than anyone. And I'm so proud of what they've done, but we just need to increase the numbers. So that's where we're at.
So score is 3 for 29. 6 overs gone here, so second power play now in operation.
So this is 4 outside now?
Yep. Target is 132 as set by the Australian Pavilion earlier this morning. Looks like it's going to be Timmy Hazeman who's now going to take up the ball from the school end.
Would you say the ledger is slightly in the favour of the Pavilion at the moment with the numbers of 3 for 29, the number of overs that have been bowled?
Yeah, I tend to agree, BK. I think this partnership's pretty key. You know that Simon Tape is a great all-rounder and has been in good form through this tournament so far. And also Neil Bryce has been steady too. So if these two can get themselves settled here, they've only been at the crease for...
Is that Tim bowling?
Tim Hazeman, yep.
Tim, it is Tim. So Tim came in fresh yesterday. So
did play through the tri-series though with the Australian team.
Right.
Yep. He's a really good swing player. Gives whoever he's playing for lots of versatility. He's good with the bat and then he Can bowl some good seam up as well. As he's finding the edge, as the ball's running away off the bat of Simon Tape. There's a big divot taken out there by Rizwan Latif. He is a busy cricketer out in the ring there, isn't he, BK?
He ran plenty yesterday as well. I think he's an outfield specialist.
Yep. As we wait on Hazeman once again. Tape's moved along to 5. Grice is 5 as well.
Whoa, geez, right up against the stumps as well.
Yeah.
Gee, that coming quick, and I think it might have twinged the keeper on the gloves there.
Trevor Harding, he's just ringing his left hand, as it were. We're watching him from behind, so it looks like he's right. But, yeah, that one really did fizz through, didn't it?
And he's right up at the stumps.
Yeah, we've seen the keepers do that a lot over the last few days, just to try and get the batsmen back into their crease, put them under a little bit of pressure, because they like to get forward and try and hit the ball on the full so it doesn't swing or deviate from the track.
Up to the stumps, he's got a chance of the old stumping.
Yeah. So the current run rate is 4.8, 7.5 required. As Grice is leaning back and timing that nicely out to the cover boundary. Picks up another single.
I tell you what, some of the catches, they have been impressive. The can't remember the batsman from the sets who was caught right on the boundary line, deep long on, is it?
Yep.
Deep from the strikers fieldsman late in the innings, last innings. That was an amazing catch diving forwards.
Short and wide outside the off stump. I think Chris Howes was considering signalling wide there, but he has allowed that one to go through, so it's probably going to be buys unless it was off the bat.
Well, we'll take that one.
Yeah, no signal there from Housing.
No.
So end of the over, 7 complete, 3 for 35 with Tape on 8 and Gricey on 6. And BK, we might let you go. So
thank you very much,
whilst
Paddy.
you can get
Appreciate
back
it.
on the mic, and always great to chat to you.
Doing a great job. Thanks, Paddy.
Brian Kelly is busy today on this day 3 of the Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale T20 tournament. He's got the Metzl cream in full operation, and he's doing a great job to keep our guys mobile and ready to get through the back end of this 4-day extravaganza. And we, of course, are situated here at the Mildura Senior College. It's part of our broadcast facility, and pictures coming to you from Todd and the B Live team. Got the cameras in the strategic positions we need them to be, and we've been able to dodge a little bit of rain. We had a shower earlier in that first session, but we played through. The cloud looking to look a little bit higher now in the sky, so hopefully we can continue to bring you these live pictures. As Grice is tidily in and behind that one once again. Taken down to the leg side. They'll get through for a single, nicely fielded there by Leith Dawes. Hancock continues this quite remarkable opening spell. He's taken 3 for 4 midway through his 4th and final over. He has really done a job with this new ball. Bit of pace off, not a heap of spin there, but batsman really finding it difficult to get him away. So Tape has advanced to 9, Grice is 7, 3 for 37. Our Waspers got the strikers at a 66% potential of victory here. So it's pretty evenly poised as that one goes down the leg side. I'll scamper through for a leg bye as well to go with that. So wickets to fall so far in this second session. Williams was out, caught O'Connell, bowled Hancock for 2. Webber caught Latif, bowled Hancock, no score. And John Gary caught Goodwin, bowled Hancock for 16. There's the ball's coming in from the ring, and it's going to beat the keeper. And it's heading down towards the third man boundary. So overthrows. As you can see, Hancock throw his head back ruefully there. That's, of course, going to go against his bowling figures, which have been so very tidy so far. A little over-exuberance on the ring there by the Pavillion. Has allowed the strikers to pick up an extra 4 runs for their trouble. So we just wait for the NV play overlays to update that information for us. Tape is 14, Grice is 7. 3 for 43, one ball remaining of this, the 8th over. Hancock's figures still looking very, very good. 3 for 10. As again, he's very belligerent in that appeal. Did look to be tailing down the leg side as he's in communication with the umpire. So he completed his 4-over stint, 3 for 10. And the score is 3 for 43 now at the end of 8 overs with Tape on 14 and Grice on 7. The run rate is 5.38. The required amount is 7.42. As Peter Walsh rejoins us here in the broadcast position.
Hello, Pat. Yes, having a chat to one of our gentlemen who we spoke to earlier on regarding his expertise as a franchise owner of those that are running around in the middle at the moment. And I said, what have you been doing? He said, I saw Doug Walters over there. And I said, yes, well, everyone has. So he's gone and got Doug to sign a few things, little bats, and because he's got, of course, a cricket museum that he's getting ready to open up down in Adelaide. And he said, look, I'd like you to come to one of our functions coming up in early October. And I said, well, early October starts tomorrow, I think.
Yeah,
I said, that's probably not going to work for me. But he's got Yunus Khan doing a trip around Australia. There are so many people that are. I know I got some disappointing news. I was going along to a function that Wasim Akram was speaking at, and that was in Bendigo, where I live. But apparently he's not coming now, which is sad for me because that was going to happen in October. And so I was getting all excited to see Wasim Akram, who I got to know in Pakistan many years ago. And these people, they just turn up from nowhere. Michael Holding was there at one stage. And I thought, how good would it be to see Michael Holding? But he was on Zoom. The big screen there and Zoom was there, but he wasn't. He was on the other side of the world. But in this day and age now, it doesn't matter where you are. As we are here, we're sitting here and we're having a chat. And, of course, being assisted there by Todd and the troops. And you don't know who's watching, do you?
No, we've had a lot of streamers over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, more
Soft
streamers
TV.
than the Brisbane Lions yesterday.
Oh, that's a question for another time, I think, Peter. No. It's rare air there, I would have thought. They will continue their celebrations and probably into Mad Monday again tomorrow, the boys.
Yes, absolutely. And I was having a chat whilst you were rendering assistance as the score goes up by 6 for a big blow down the ground on the onside. And what are your thoughts on this game now with the target at 5 for 131? That's the runs amassed by the Australian Pavillion team. What do you think?
Well, I can tell you, Peter, that the Wasp is in their favour at 81% chance of victory. So chasing down that target set earlier today of 132. If they can keep wickets in the shed, I sort of feel this is the key partnership here, isn't it?
It is. And this is not name dropping, and I think I can tell the story because he's not here at the moment. Damien Meek popped around for a chat, and I thought his comments were very pertinent. He said, no, you've got to be careful about these wickets. You can't let pacemen come in and bowl quick with so much happening. And we talked about the Nationals coming up and then, of course, the trip to Sri Lanka for the World Cup. And he said, no, there was no way now we're going to play there. You've got to be careful. They'll play a game this afternoon, but you don't want people being injured. And that's just about the way it could happen, isn't it?
Look around the ground shortly and keep you updated with the games that are currently underway. That ball is swung away out behind square for another boundary for the spot-on strikers. They advance along to 3 for 55, almost through 9 completed overs. And we can tell you that the RJR All-Stars are 6 for 92 after 9 overs. They won the toss and were inserted by the Saxon Kings. So that game is interestingly poised. And at the back behind us, Sandgropers finished at 7 for 112 from their 20. Lightning Storm are 1 for 9. So they require a further 104 from 17.4 overs at a rate of 5.89 per over to win, Peter.
And that table, of course, with Team Thunder and EB2 Cricket picking up 1 point each for the abandoned game. Team Thunder 9, EB2 Cricket 7. And then we've got RJR All-Stars, Saxon Kings, Australian Pavillion and Lightning Storm all with 4 points. Spot on Strikers 2 and the Sandgropers, nothing as yet. But things can change and things will change. Forecast for this afternoon. We don't appear to have much rain inside, although I shouldn't be making a judgment there. I don't live locally. A few fluffy clouds, but there's some darkness in a few. What do you think, Mr. Man from the Meteorology Bureau?
I feel like they're a little bit higher now, those clouds, Walshy, than what we saw earlier. So I think we might get through unscathed. We'll check the radar in a moment just to see how it's standing.
Target is certainly gettable when you look at it's 131. And we are at the end of 9, 3 for 55 into the 9th over, 3 for 55, 77 off 11 overs, at 7 per over. Wouldn't want to lose another wicket now, Pat. I don't think that would be on the agenda.
It's looking to be Rizwan Latif into the bowling attack now from that southern end. Current temperature is 16.9, but feels like 13.2. Did have around about 3 or 4 millimetres prior to 9 a.m. this morning, but nothing registered in the gauges post 9 at this point of time. This tape is forcing away out on the offside. Tony Hickey has a little bit of a fumble, and it's going to go to the boundary for 4.
Yeah, he'd be really dirty on himself there because he looked like he was going to pick it up cleanly, but that didn't happen. And I'm reckoning the frustrations experienced and endured wouldn't be the best thing that's happened to him today.
Just didn't get down low enough over the top of it and couldn't regain his composure to get back and reel it back in. So a nice win there for the spot-on strikers. As this one's lofted up high in the air, it's going to pitch around on the 45 on the onside, and the catch is taken there. I reckon it's Tim Hazeman.
It's a good catch too.
It was. He got himself in a great position, and Rizwan Latif has got his first scalp. 1 for 5. The score is now 4 for 60. And that's a great breakthrough from the Australian Pavilion, Walshy.
That ball, that did fly high. If there's any planes coming in to land in Mildura, the ball wasn't going to go near the plane coming in, but I'll tell you what, didn't that get airborne after it hit the ball? Good catch too, well judged.
Let's watch it again. The keeper, I think, initially was considering running back behind it, but Hazeman, coming in from his post on the ring there at the 45 on the onside, made it look very easy in the end.
And I reckon Gab was there too, number 3, who opened the bowling. In case you've come in late, he opened the bowling, and he's pretty happy talking to his charges now because that wicket, very important. 4 for 60, 9.3 overs gone, Grice is 15, Pitt yet to score. Latif 1 for 5 off 3 overs. No, that's not right, 3 balls in his first over, so that's even better.
He's been busy in the ring. The opening 8 or 9 overs, Rizwan Latif, but trying his hand now in this bowling rotation. He's made a beautiful start.
Yeah, just getting back to what was being spoken about by Damien Meakin, he was saying that the track certainly just had a little bit too much juice in it. And if that was the case and someone got injured, you'd be feeling pretty ordinary because you couldn't bowl how you wanted to bowl. You couldn't bowl as fast as you wanted to bowl. And you were paying respect to the opposition, but after all, as soon as you get out there, the respect word is still about. But Aretha Franklin's not singing when you're running into bowl, is she?
Yeah, I think they're playing on one of the synthetic surfaces out of the Aero Ovals, and just too much water on the top of the surface, which obviously very hard to remove.
That was a very important wicket to take too. 4 for 60 with 9.4 overs being bowled. Grice 15 and Pitt yet to score. And now it's all of a sudden, let's get a partnership building halfway through this dig.
Pitt's allowing that one to pass through outside the off stump. Nicely gloved there by wicketkeeper Trevor Harding.
It could be a lookalike too. I've got one for you. Does he look like Sunil Gavaskar running away from us, the bowler?
I'll come back to you on that in a moment. While she is, Jamie Pitt is managing to find some room directly behind the keeper. Opens his account with that single. Score now 4 for 61 at the end of 10 overs. 71 to win, 60 balls remaining. So it's a pretty neat equation there, isn't it, with 6 wickets in hand. And yes, You might just say it's a bit of Escavascar going away from
Yep.
us at the southern end there.
Just a little bit. When you start talking about favourite cricketers, and you get into a conversation with Harsha Bogle, who is an outstanding broadcaster who works for just about every sport. He fronts quiz shows that are over in the subcontinent. He does everything and does it very well. And he talks about the best place to be to check these luminaries out is early mornings, say 2 o'clock in the morning when they drive around in their fancy cars, because most other people sleep. But he said they're not besieged by running into people who come over and say, can I get your photograph? Can I have an autograph? Blah, blah, blah. And there's a few of those over there. I think Brian Lara was the one that he and Shane Warne were good mates for a long, long time. And when he was in Adelaide, you know, when they played their test matches there, well, it was like people were just following him around in streets. A bit like when Lance Armstrong was down for the Tour Down Under for the cycling.
Yep.
We only have debt collectors who follow me around, Patrick. That's all that's in my life, so I've got no problems there.
Got a bowling change from the school end. Tony Hickey, local rep. That one's going through nicely to the keeper. A nice bit of bounce. So Tony predominantly an in-swing bowler to the right-hand batsman. So you think this one here is going to be going away from the lefty.
Now, what a bloke should do, you know, he should go over because Neville Kratzman's just walked past. I should grab him and drag him back in and sit him down next to Doug Walters. There'd be a good conversation between those two people.
Some fantastic stories to be told, I reckon. Of course, they had their game abandoned, the EV2 cricket team, earlier this morning against Team Thunder, so they've had a little bit of time for a bit of R&R, as it were, through the morning portion of this third day.
Yep.
The Global Spirited Cricket Festivale T20 competition. The other word that I did hear, Peter, was that the Team Thunder crew had headed down to the Mildura Waves and utilised the indoor swimming facility down there, just trying to loosen up a little.
Yes, well, you know, there's time to fill in and you think, well, do I do some shopping? No, my partner can or my wife can. Do I just lounge around? And you say, well, you want to do some form of exercise. Do you go to the gym or do you have a swim? There's a fair bit to do. Some magnificent restaurants, but you can't go to restaurants all day. Or maybe you can.
Grice is swinging away nicely there. He'll beat the man at long on. So another boundary for the spot-on strikers. Big Tasmania now moves to 19 from 15. And it's 66 runs to win from 56 balls remaining, 6 wickets in hand.
I'd like to get access to Neil if we could too, because the Tasmanian connection. I'd like to know just how much cricket they played there before they make the move interstate, if necessary. But I know Tasmania, I was there when they won their first Sheffield Shield, when they beat New South Wales at the Bellerive Oval in Hobart. That was amazing. And the Sheffield Shield, it sort of pales into a bit of, I shouldn't say insignificance because that's not fair, but some of the games that are being played, you might read about the results in the paper 3 days after the game's finished.
Yes, didn't quite get the coverage that it once did, unfortunately.
I remember when Brian Davison came back to coach or captain Tasmania, and the big sporting exclusive for the radio station I was working with was that he had seconded the services of D.K. Lilly to go over to Tasmania and play for Tasmania. And the first ball that he bowled, he got a wicket. He caught behind.
Of course he did.
He did. Yes, and look, it was Brian Davison, who was well known from his cricketing prowess in Rhodesia, really. And of course he lived in, his wife Caroline, she lived in Zimbabwe for a while. But just the amount of publicity about the arrival of the man who used to flick the sweat off his brow and away he'd go. And it's all about, that's what you do if you get access to somebody and you can get Katy Perry singing at the MCG. People will talk about it, and I spoke about D.K. Lilly for quite a period of time. Didn't stay there very long, but it was a worthwhile go.
So we go back again with Rizwan Latif. Bowling a full ball, which is angling down the leg side. All picked up there on the 45 by Richard Gabb. Early doors for the Tasmanian cricket scene over there. Walshy, of course, they got a few imports through the system, didn't they? Michael Holding, I think, spent a bit of time down there. Did Franklin Stevenson play a bit of cricket there at one stage?
And so too did Patrick Patterson.
And Richard Ellison too, the Englishman. Yep.
Yeah, they were some good players. And of course, when I was there initially, David Boone was the gun without question. And as he moved into retirement mode, Ricky Ponting was next.
Yep.
And, you know, you had players that crept in. Sean Young played one test for the Australians.
Michael DiVenuto had a bit of time down there.
He did. And there's a really good trivia question here, There was a relative of Ricky Ponting who played a test match for Australia when they were over in England. A relative.
Right.
That's a good one for you.
What timeline are we talking here?
We're talking, it would be in the 80s, late 80s, I reckon. Late 80s. A fast bowler. And a bit like Meekie, I reckon, too. Just a little bit like...
Greg Campbell.
You've got him.
There he is.
Well done.
Yeah.
A good get.
He had a great mullet back in the day,
He
Greg,
did.
didn't he?
Yes, he did. And they had, a lot of characters, too, in their team. And someone like a Jamie Cox, who was an outstanding fieldsman. He and Dean Hills made a lot of big, strong opening partnerships for the Tasmanians. And, of course, the late Keith Bradshaw, unfortunately, passing away far too suddenly and far too young. He was a wonderful player. And the other one that comes to mind is this ball is hit in the air and he will be caught on the offside. The big attempt to drive the ball down the ground. The catch is taken. And it's 5 for 69 now. 5 for 69 in the 11th over. 11.4 overs gone with 63 runs required now off 49 deliveries. Grice out for 21.
Great catch from Kieran O'Connell on the ring there as Latif gets his second, and Grice an important wicket to take because he was looking to really build as he tried to swing it away into the onside. As we can see, O'Connell very, very gleefully clutching to that one as he's coming in to celebrate. And the pace off once again is seeing the breakthroughs here at the Mildura Senior College. As Walshy said, 5 for 69 now, almost through 12 overs. We'll get our Wasp up in a second, and I think you'll find the percentage might have just drifted away a little. 63 to win, 49 balls remaining. 5 wickets in hand.
It's a big result too because the spot-on strikers have only won one game and they've picked up 2 points, whereas the Australian Pavillion, they're sitting on 2 wins with 4 points. So each of these games now, a lot of substance involved. And just getting back quickly to the Tasmanians, one of my favourite persons who played the game and played it at the best possible level, but unfortunately he drowned in a fishing accident. And that was Tony Bennyworth.
Oh, yes.
And Tony Bennyworth, who was in Parliament for a period of time, a wonderful man, just loved his cricket. And could he hit a golf ball? I played a few games with Tony and he just stood there and went whack. And just a gregarious person, a fanatical Carlton supporter, out fishing one day. And he and a mate, unfortunately, and the news came through that we've lost someone. And you know, at that time, you start to work out, I better listen just in case I remember the name, and Tony Bennyworth.
Sad. I can remember Tony being one of my collection of Scanlon's cricket cards from back in the day, the old green cards that we used to get there with a stick of gum, and Tony, I had quite a few of his, I reckon, through the early 80s.
He did a lot of work for us, so when we were broadcasting in Tasmania, we broadcast every Shield match and every session of the Shield. We went to Devonport when there were games there, we went to Launceston, and the TCA ground was in Hobart when they played Shield cricket before they went to Bellerive. And Tony slipped into the commentary box and he was amazing. The other guy who came down and was also very good and played for Tasmania was Dirk Wellham.
He did. Yep.
See those names that just keep bobbing up. David Gilbert was another player.
Yes.
Chris Matthews from
Dan
Western
Marsh,
Australia.
spent a bit of
Dan
time down
Marsh,
there,
yes. Rod Tucker, who then became and still is a very competent umpire. And the Burger, he didn't like being called the Burger, but Danny Buckingham was one who scored runs and scored them quickly. And all states have those sorts of characters, and Tasmania certainly not shy. Richard Sewell, another wicket keeper.
He was going to be the heir apparent there to Rodney Marsh for a long period of time, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. And you never forget those people because I know I've had contact with Jamie Cox quite often. He finished up with, went to St Kilda on the football circuit. But his fielding was just exquisite. He was a cover point or cover fieldsman, and he batted very well. Yeah, he was good, no doubt about that. Down memory lane here, you got me thinking about all these things.
Yeah, as we see another high one in the air, and going back with a flight there was it Anton Balaam who just lost sight of it at the very, very last moment as he went to ground. And a bit of fortune there for the spot-on strikers. And Tony Hickey almost getting his first wicket there from the school end, as we see. Pitt again trying to swing it around on the onside. Balaam was just going back with the flight and just got down a little bit low, didn't it, on him in the end, as Pitt is scoring once more, hitting the ball out into the offside. As Leith Dawes does the retrieval work and throws the ball back to the bowler.
And one of my favourite characters too. He played for the Australian team when the Rebel tour to South Africa. He was a leg spin bowler and he was just so good to work with. Stuart Saunders. Stuart Lucas Saunders. He was a card, a real character. Just one of the nicest guys you could ever work with, and sat for many, many sessions in the treehouse that we had down there. We didn't have a press box. You had to climb up a ladder and then just go and sit on a couple of plank boards. And he was just so good to work with because he knew his stuff. That ball is driven back down the ground as we get towards the end of the 12th over. It's 5 for 74. With Pitt on 6 and Scott on 2. The target is 131, so 58 off 43 with 5 wickets. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they need to get a partnership going here, Peter. I think another wicket, and that really does tilt it in the favour of the Australian Pavilion. As Hickey has completed now his second over, has none for 11. Score is 5 for 74 after 13. Pitt is 6. Kelvin Scott, the new man, is on 2. So we take this opportunity to have a quick look around the grounds. The JR All-Stars are 6 for 112. Our latest intel coming through on that game against the Saxon Kings. They finished at 6 for 112 at the end of their 20, so Saxon Kings are ready to go. Looks like it's been a reduced game there, Peter. 10 overs is the target, 113 off 10, so maybe just a 10 over a side game there with a late start.
Hard chase.
So they'll need to get going there quickly, won't they? And out the back here on Mildura Senior College, number 2, Lightning Storm, 1 for 16 from 3, chasing a target of 113 as set by the Sandgropers earlier this morning.
Sandgropers haven't had a win. Well, maybe this could be the day after the AFL Grand Final and ending up with September. That might be the way to go, as there's a hit down the ground and it's missed. Awkward bounce by the man who's fielding a wideish mid-on, and it went straight through to the fence for 4.
And Balaam again, who just got himself in an awkward position as it was dropping very rapidly down towards the ground. As Latif is disappointed there that he was unable to secure his 3rd scalp. We'll get another look at this one in replay. It was a full pitch delivery, hit down the ground, and it was almost in the end a half volley, wasn't it?
Yeah, tough one.
Yep.
Quite pick it up, and once you're through, it's just about all the way because this ground, even though we've had some rain, the outfield's pretty quick.
It's running very nicely. As Peter's getting back and across. Ball is going to his end at the non-strikers. He will hustle through for another single. The score is 5 for 79. Pitt is 11. Scott is 2. 53 runs to win. 40 balls remaining.
It's certainly gettable. Without question. Latif, 2.2 overs, 2 for 13. Is ready to bowl to Scott, who's on the back foot. Punches the ball with a fair amount of caution out behind square on the offside, and they walk through for an easy single. Just taking their time. No need to be in panic mode, but the 5 wickets down, that's the worry. We see Latif now, who has good figures in the 3rd over, 2 for 14, a boundary and 2 singles in this over. Right arm round the wicket. Jig and a jag, and he's in. He tosses up. Almost a full toss. It is a full toss. It's taken on the full and hit hard and strong out to where Kelvin Scott rushes in from the boundary. He gleefully looked like that was going to be hammered away for 4, but he couldn't quite get the placement required. Scott 3, Pitt 2. 5 for 81. 2 balls remaining in this over. Latif 2 for 15 and he's third. Bowls another full toss and that's hit a fair distance and it nearly hit the spot sign.
Oh, there was a bit of conjecture in the box here.
I tell you what, a bit of consternation and dissatisfaction because...
Yes.
Well, let's have a look at this because we've been beautifully looked after by Todd and the troops, and we might be able to get an idea as to how close that was to that big fat orange.
Yeah, the hit me for sixth, which is carrying $25,000 as a bounty as Scott leans into it. Oh, it's pitching just in front. It's the closest one we've seen so far in this T20 tournament. We'll get another closed down pan shot here.
Well, it's not far away.
No, probably 5 metres askew on the right-hand side, but it was a fantastic strike from Kelvin Scott. And now, as we've been so caught up in the emotion of almost giving away $25,000, he has to make his way from the ground. He's been dismissed by Latif, who now has his third wicket.
Well, consternation and dissatisfaction in the troops as Latif is pretty pleased with what's happening. That ball hit down the ground and hit fairly strongly, but unfortunately, if the strength of your power isn't being matched by where you hit in what direction, and I'm reckoning down there, was that Jamie Pitt?
Mark White was the man taking the catch.
He's taken the catch, and that's a big result too. But the Australian Pavillion, of course, number 14. Jamie Pitt, number 14 for the spot on strikers, and Scott out, caught by White off Latif for 9, 6 for 87 at the end of the 14th over. But let's go back to where that orange sign was. I hope we get a hit.
Yeah.
I hope that's the case.
Just got a little bit carried away with himself, Kelvin Scott. He tried to go large again following delivery. So our new man now is Graham Gibbs for the spot on strikers. He'll join Jamie Pitt out in the middle. So 45 from 36. So all of a sudden the run's starting to get that little bit higher than the balls remaining, and the wickets in hand are diminishing as well, Walshy. Just 4 left in the shed now.
Yes, it's still hard with any degree of confidence to predict which way this will go. I still think it's such an even one, and that's a good thing. Comments coming through earlier on. Damien Meek saying that the fielding was outstanding in the last over when they crept to a win yesterday. Needed to happen, and it was an exciting finish, and that's what we want. We want exciting finishes. This could be with Pitt on 9. And let's see, Pitt on 12. Gibbs is the new batsman. And it's 6 for 87. It was to be a bowl, but there's a bit of not quite ready, so let's do it again.
Late withdrawal that time from Jamie Pitt, which will, I've got no doubt, frustrate Tony Hickey. He's got a very methodical approach the way he goes about his bowling. So he's bowling that one into the pitch, and it's swung around the corner. There was a man there on the ring. He was forward of square. He needed to react very quickly to that, as once again we see the ball in close proximity to the
far away,
hit me for 6 sign. So nice blow that time from Jamie Pitt. As the score will now advance up to 6 for 91. Start of this, the 15th over.
45 off 36. It's starting to squeeze up those wearing green. I reckon might be feeling that if they do something out of the ordinary, that's not going to be necessary. They can just still work their way to a win. This ball punched away down the ground off the offside, and they'll get through for 1. 6 for 92. Pitt 17. Gibbs yet to score. It's now just 40 runs off 34 deliveries. So the equation now, it's becoming even more interesting and more even, which is exactly what is ordered by all and sundry.
Got some good numbers down here today at the Mildura Senior College, supporting both of these franchises. So that one's angled down the leg side. Gibbs is able to turn it around the corner. We'll get through for 2. Latif does the work in the deep. So we see the umpire just doing a bit of a head count of bodies outside the ring. Interesting. Chris Howes was observing they had the right amount, which should only be 4 because we still are in the second power play.
There's a few things, as we've mentioned on many occasions here, Pat, about what the umpire has to make sure he knows.
Full-length delivery is defended this time by Graham Gibbs. 38 from 32. 4 wickets in hand for the spot-on strikers, who are desperate here to break their duck, get their first points of this Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale T20 tournament, as Hickey's bringing one back from outside the off stump. Good enough to run through for the single. 6 for 95. Looks like our friend the wire is going to come into play one more time, Peter.
Could be the case. Could be the case. Let's just have a look at the performances of spot-on strikers during this tournament. As that is a little bit wide, just a little bit. And the side that's been struggling all the way through has been the Sandgropers. They haven't been able to find a win yet. We want every side to pick up points. We've got tomorrow to do that, plus later this afternoon. This one's dragged away on the onside, out to the fence for 4. Hit well. And it smashes into one of the classrooms out there with nobody there because, of course, it's a weekend and we've got school holidays finished, have they?
Yeah, I think they might be back tomorrow, Peter, actually, now I think about it.
Well, don't send your kids to school if they haven't got to go to school.
No, I won't.
Good.
I won't. Well, I'll be here, so I won't be sending them anywhere. But no doubt that Mum will be in full control of what's happening there.
32 off 30. That was a big over there. 4, 5, 6, 10 off the over. And that might be the turning point now. They should, with all, take everything into equation. They should be able to win this game from here with 4 wickets in hand.
Yeah, Jamie Peters got himself nicely set out in the middle. He's the man that can guide them home to victory. It's 21 from his 18 deliveries, as Latif is looking to get set here. As the umpire is going to signal the third power play, which now comes into operation. Latif has 3 for 21 from his 3 overs. Hancock, of course, was the man that impressed us with the new ball. 4 overs, 2 maidens, 3 for 10. It sounds like the kitchen is starting to cook up a storm behind us. The deep fry is into action, Walshy.
Well, it's no good having action over there. We want action here. As there's a big shout for LBW. That ball appearing to go just a little bit perhaps down leg side. 6 for 100 at the start of the 15th. Pitt 21, Gibbs 1. Latif getting through this over quickly. Bowls the second ball. Oh, no, that's a replay of the first one. Just wide of the leg side. He was a bit keen. He was a bit interested, but the umpire wasn't.
I was almost going up with him with the shout there and got myself choked up a little, but umpire allowed the play to go on. 6 for 101. Move through this 16th over, 31 to win, 28 balls remaining. So if they can keep that runs to win, balls remaining pretty close together, should be attainable from here, you'd think, for the strikers. Who have, of course, Peter, as I got it wrong before, one game so far during this T20 competition. It was the Sandgropers who've been able to break their duck as of yet.
Here's another question too from Stan the statistician. Where does the terminology break your duck come from? I don't know about that one either.
Ball swung away onto the onside and is going to go away for 4. Well, I guess, as it were, a duck is a batsman that doesn't score any runs. So I guess if you get more than none, you're effectively breaking away from your duck. It's just a general observation, Peter. I'm not sure if that suffices. But
I think you just made that up, actually.
Okay.
But I was thinking about, well, why can't you have a chook? Why can't you have, you break your chook? Breaking your duck, it's an animal. Anyway, look, we'll move on from that. 6 for 106. This ball is pushed away on the onside. Following through very, very sprightly indeed is Mr. Latif, who ran like the wind. He was really scurrying from one side of the track to the other. Score stays at 6 for 106. Last ball of this over, which has gone for 6 runs so far. And it'll go for 7. They better hurry. They started for a run and then realised that that might have been a little bit of an issue. So that's the end of a good over too. 6 runs from the over from Latif. Off 4. He's taken 3 for 27. With the partnership now 19, well, what's required? 19 off a couple, or more than a couple, isn't it? 4. What about it? What do you reckon?
26 from 24. It's going to be tight, I think, is all I can say from this point of time. I think if they can stay 6 down, I think these two will see them home to victory, but another wicket will make things extremely spicy as we quickly look around the grounds, Walshy. Now, it's a 10-over game that's in operation between the RJR All-Stars and Saxon Kings. RJR All-Stars made 6 for 112, and the Saxon Kings are 1 for 27 after 3, so they need another 86 from 42 balls, with 9 wickets remaining for victory. And out behind us at Mildura Senior College, number 2. Haven't had any further addition there, so Lightning Storm 1 for 16 after 3, chasing Sandgropers 7 for 112.
A few edgy players down there with pads on and helmets on, not wanting to go out and bat, because if they do, there'll still be some runs to be got. 6 for 106, start of 17.
There's Pitts looking to try and hit away on the onside, unable to score. So we see a change. And Graham Crawford now into the attack, replacing Tony Hickey, who's gotten through his allotted 4-over spell from the school end.
And I also see Richard Gapps left the field. He's away to our left, sitting down. So he's off the field at the moment.
Pitt squeezing that one out towards the man at backward point. Bowl back into the bowler's end there by Rizwan Latif. So another single to the tally, 6 for 107. As we push through this 17th over, 25 to win, 22 balls remaining. Crawford has the knack of making breakthroughs. If he can get one here, we'll have Australia Pavilion right back in the mix, you'd reckon. Workshopping a couple of changes with his field as Leith Dawes has come out and across onto the onside on the ring. Push an extra man back on the leg side boundary, so they've got 3 deep on the onside. Gibbs is defending away down the wicket square. That's all he could do to that delivery. Very tidy from Crawford.
First 3 balls of the over have been spot on, but he doesn't want to now bowl a loose ball and get smacked for 4, because all of he's been able to gain will be lost.
Ball looked around the corner for another single as Latif hustles in off the ring. Just waiting for an update to that NV play overlay. May have been off the bat there. No signal of leg bye from the umpire. So 6 for 108. So get the reverse there from Pitt, who hits it out into the onside. They were considering 2, but Latif is good enough to get it back to the keeper. So 23 to win, Walshy, from 19 deliveries.
Still teasing, but you'd still have to, I think. Those that have the best card hand, the side that is chasing the run, 6 for 109, I still think they're ready to go. Just need a couple of boundaries off the next over. The ball is short outside the off stump, punch backward of point, just the single. That's the completion of the 3rd last over. We've got 18 balls remaining at 6 for 110 with Pitt on 24. 22 runs off 18 balls, and the man who may hold cards, Pitt 24, Gibbs 8, Pitt the man 24 off 22. He looks as if he'd be the go-to player.
He's looking pretty relaxed out in the centre at the moment, Peter. So he'll look to get going again, as we'll have another bowling change as Kieran O'Connell, who would normally take the new ball, has been caught into the action right here at the back end of the 3rd power play. So tough time to get yourself going as a fast bowler. Bowls with good zip, so he'll be trying to do the batsman with a bit of extra pace.
Few nerves out there, I think, too, in the field.
Yeah, I agree. So it's short and outside the off stump, and it's dealt with pretty well. Man swooping down there at third man will collect. They'll get back for 2. So a bit of a loosener that time from O'Connell, and he'll need to get himself going quickly here. 20 to win from 17. That one is swinging away past the outside edge of the Gibbs bat and through to the keeper. It's all shoulder for O'Connell through the crease. He hasn't got much of a front arm in that delivery stride. Short, and again it's hit out towards the point boundary. Hickey's going to have to go at it. This one pretty hard. This time he gets down low and cuts it off nicely. Gets a good reception here from the spectators at the Mildura Senior College. So 2 more to the score though. 6 for 114. 18 to win, 15 balls remaining. Boundary here, and it really does tilt the scales in favour of the spot on strikers, I reckon, Pete.
It does. A few dot balls required. This ball is hit away. It didn't go too far. The wicket keeper around behind the stumps. Very quick indeed, if you don't mind. Jumping about behind the stumps. Grice it was, and he's ready to get down into position. 18 runs off 14 deliveries. This ball from O'Connell. The attempted cut.
Wow.
And did that miss everything? I think it might have. It's gone down towards the fence. Is it buys?
It's
I think it
go.
might be.
I think he might have got an under edge. No, it is buys. So beat the batsman, beat the keeper, and went all the way to the boundary with the extra pace. So O'Connell, a little bit hard done by there.
How did that not flick the bails off? There's a little gap there. If we saw a replay of that one, here we go. Oh, how close was that?
Yeah. It was swinging away out of the hand, but then I reckon straightened up off the pitch. So it was a tough proposition there for Graham Gibbs, but he survives.
6 for 118, a ball to go in this over. This ball is tapped away on the onside. There's a start for a run, but no. Woo there, go back, boy. And that's the case. 6 for 118 with 2 overs remaining. 14 runs to win. Pitt 24, Gibbs 12. 6 for 118. The target to win the game is 132.
Been a great partnership, this one, Peter. They came together with a score at 6 for 87. They've taken along now to 6 for 118.
There you go. That's a good shot there too, because it means that even if you're not and be all that thirsty, slip some of that water into the system for rehydration purposes, and then get back into position so that you're not going to be pinged for time wasting.
Of course, teams have 80 minutes allotted to bowl their 20 overs, these T20 games. So it looks like Crawford is now going to come around the wicket. He's in operation from the school end. He's bowling to Pitt. Partnership, as we said, has been very, very productive here. The latter end of the strikers' innings. Pitt swings away out onto the onside. There's protection there, but a fumble. There is a man backing up, but they're going to come back for 2. So things are really rolling nicely at the moment for the spot on strikers. 6 for 120, that should be, once their NV play overlay rolls over. 12 to win from 11 deliveries.
And a fair bit of chin-wagging going on with the 2 batters who are waiting to go on. If there is another wicket, we'll wait and see. 6 for 120 down the ground, and the lofted shot away on the onside is going to be good. Had enough warmth, had enough meat, came off the middle of the bat, and away it went on the onside for a boundary. 8 to win off 10 deliveries. Pitt 30, Gibbs 12. 6 for 124. Didn't look as if he'd hit it all that cleanly, but importantly, the placement was there and away it went for 4.
He just got away at the end from Brian Goodwin. I think he thought that he had it under control.
He works the next ball away behind point on the offside, just dabs it away and goes through for the single. Very clever running. 9 balls remaining. 7 runs to win. 6 for 125. Wouldn't that give you the pits? Because he's 31 and Gibbs is 12, and haven't they done well?
Yeah, he's played a great cameo. Has Jamie Pitt down the order here. As Crawford just gathers his composure. Pitches up as the ball's hit out on the offside, but this time they'll protect in the ring, so no score. 7 to win. 8 balls remaining, 6 for 125. Pitt is 31, Gibbs is 12. It was uppishly played, but just falling in short there in front of the man on the ring. That was a pretty good effort in the end. This time the ball swung out to the onside, and he's taken in the deep by Tony Hickey. So another twist in this tale. First of our T20 games to broadcast on day 3 of this Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale T20 competition. Crawford makes the breakthrough. Gibbs has to go for 12. He's caught by Tony Hickey. And it's 7 for 125 as we watch the replay here, Peter Walsh. This is a great breakthrough for the Australian Pavilion.
Hit cleanly, but a perfect position there to make the judgment and take the catch, and then I think broke stride and was running faster than he'd run there for the rest of the day or for the duration, because it's a good catch, an outfield catch that goes to you in a hurry, but he ran in and took it. And that in itself means that the game has another pulse. It's 7 for 125, Pitt 31, Everest, and that's what he'll be climbing, because he'll get out there and there's only 7 runs required of 7 deliveries, so 1 more ball plus an over. Oh, look, let's be courageous and let's rise to the occasion with our intestinal fortitude and suggest it could be a tie.
Oh, will there be a super over on the back end of that?
We
Not
need something
sure.
super here, don't we?
Yeah, the rules will open up that opportunity. The next game is due to get underway at 3 p.m. local Mildura time, as Matt Everest gets set to take his position here. He'll be keen just to turn the strike over and get Jamie Pitt into the fray. He might just elect us to see this one delivery remaining from Crawford out here.
Bowler's not very happy that the batsman's not ready either. There's a little bit of, excuse me, get on with it.
As Everest pushes it back. And the non-shy at the non-strikers end from Crawford. A bit of theatre at the end of this game. So we have 1 over to go. 7 runs to win for the spot-on strikers. The score is 7 for 125. And it's going to fall onto the shoulders of Jamie Pitt to see if he can't get them home to victory here.
Spot-on strikers have had a win. They have had a win in this competition. And in this last over, who will pick up the chocolates? Who will get the extra salad roll to take home for a meal tonight with the bananas? Who'll get it?
One good shot here from Pitt, and I think it's game done. So he'll be looking to try and see if he can't pick up a couple or even reach the boundaries. He just counts them around the ground, trying to off where he feels that he can do the most damage. Kieran O'Connell will bowl this last over. Was good with the bat earlier this morning, picking up 29, and now he's required to double up. As it looks like we've almost got a backstop, have we, there? Initially, as he was positioned it straight behind the keeper, but now he's just coming a little finer there. Very fine third man on the fence.
Kieran O'Connell still doing the waving and doing the counting, making sure that all of those that are in the outfield are protecting their little piece of terra firma. O'Connell in. First ball delivers. He swung down the ground and hit very powerfully. Not fielded cleanly, but the gathering is good there from our man who's done a fair bit of work out there today, Rizan Latif, and they're through for 1. And the bowler now is waving the arms around. Who said that cricket at this level doesn't provide us with some drama? These moments are dramatic. 7 for 126, Pitt 32, Everest yet to score. The target is 132, 6 to win off 5 deliveries.
I think O'Connell was hoping to have more men on the ring here to prevent the single. Still having a bit of a discussion. Leith Dawes seems to be running the show at the moment, with Richard Gabb just taking a bit of time out off the ground. So they're going to bring their man long on now onto the ring. Mid-off is also up. O'Connell is still waving his hands around in the air. I think he wants either the man at backward point or third man to come up on the ring as well. Really is deliberating over this final over here. Just fear if they bring too much up on the offside ring there, with the extra pace, it might just get away for 4 down to third man. So Matty Everest, as he's hitting through the covers, Latif called into action once again. He does a nice job just to bat that one down and we'll get it back to the bowler. So high drama here in our first T20 this Sunday at the Mildura Senior College. 7 for 127, 5 to win, 4 balls remaining.
O'Connell still has the arms waving around. He's ready to go now. He's saying to Mr. Pitt, look out, here I go. It's hit in the air, wide and over the top, and that will roll out towards the fence and into the fence for 4. He didn't make absolute clean contact, but the contact was sufficient to see that white ball move away from where we were. And it hits the boundary to be 7 for 131. 3 balls remaining, just the 1 run required. Pitt, with that boundary, moves to 36. He hit it well. There were 3 who went off like cut cats out there to try and grab that ball before it trickled over the rope. That didn't happen. It's 1 run off 3 balls.
Scores are tied here at the Mildura Senior College.
Still could be a tie, Pat.
Well, they need to bowl 3 dots or pick up a hat-trick here at the end, which would be quite the finish, you would have to say. Can O'Connell do here? As Pitt faces up. Short into the wicket as he hit it down the leg side. Is it a wide? It's a wide, and, well, what a finish. Quite remarkable. I feel that O'Connell thought that might have been gloved or edged down the leg sides of the keeper, but the sundry will make the score now 7 for 132. So they end up with 3 balls to spare, because that was called a wide. They, of course, would have had to re-bowl that one if there was still runs to be chased down. So what an exciting finish, Peter Walsh.
Amazing finish, and what we wanted to see was exactly what did unfold. When you get in the bank only 131, you think to yourself, is that going to be enough? The outfield was good. The outfield drying out after some precipitation earlier in the day. And the game itself, a finish that we wanted to see, nice and tight. And the score in the finish was 7 for 130, 5 for 131. But they couldn't, in effect, grab those last few wickets, and the chase fell shy. 5 for 131 to 7 for 132. Pitt was there in the finish. And you don't often see a game as such, Pat, finish with an extra.
Not very often, Peter, but as you mentioned, Jamie Pitt was the hero in that middle order, 36 from 27, including 5 boundaries at his 44-minute stay. There are also great contributions from Tape 23, Grice 21, and John Gary picked up 16 at the top. Hancock did the damage early for the Australian Pavilion, picking up 3 for 10 from his 4 overs. Latif also 3 for 27 from his 4 overs, and Crawford picking up another wicket there as well. So quickly through the card of that second session for you. Williams was out, caught O'Connell, bowled Hancock for 2. Webber caught Latif, bowled Hancock, no score. Gary caught Goodwin, bowled Hancock for 16. And Grice was out, caught O'Connell, bowled Latif 21. Tate caught Hazeman, bowled Latif 23. Pitt remained not out 36. Scott was caught Watt, bowled Latif for 9. And Gibbs caught Hickey, bowled Crawford for 12. Still a glimmer of hope at the end there, but not to be, as Everest remained 1 not out, and it was 7 for 132. 19.4 overs bowled. And the spot-on strikers collecting their second victory of the tournament.
Yes, they do. Earlier today we had an abandoned game between Team Thunder and EB2 Cricket because of the weather. So Team Thunder on 9, EB2 Cricket on 7, followed by, let's have a look, the RJR All-Stars 4, Saxon Kings 4, Australian Pavilion, they now move to 6, Lightning Storm is 4, Spot-on Strikers a couple, and Sandgropers yet to break the ice. But we have a break now because we're going to get ourselves organised for the last game of this particular day. And I hope, Pat, that those that are listening and those that are watching are enjoying our coverage, and we can bring to you some of the excitement as it continues. It's been absolutely magnificent. the global spirit of cricket, and we're racing towards finals tomorrow, and we're not too sure as to who will be doing what, which is exactly what is the best thing to do. If you're a commentator and you're not sure, you're living in the right world. Back later on this afternoon, not too far away, so don't go away, with the final 4 games, if they're all played, but we'll be keeping you posted with the results and the updates of all the others.
G'day and welcome to Mildura, the capital of tropical North Victoria, where adventure awaits you around every bend. But unlike Queensland, you don't have to worry about crocs. Epically wide river that goes forever. Perfect for water sports. Your next adventure is in Mildura, and it's just a short flight away. We'll see you there.
No cameras, no complex calibration, just targeted effective chemical application. Hardy Geo Select.
The psychological health and safety culture of your workplace is vital to the success of your organisation. Are you addressing psychosocial hazards in the workplace? Learn to create a positive mental wellbeing culture where your business and your people flourish through our in-person, live online and self-paced e-learning courses. Scan and visit our website for more information.
Introducing the Hardy Sarator 7000 with advanced comfort, convenience and efficiency. This class-leading sprayer now moves even further ahead. The Hardy Sarator 7000.
Global Camel is back. Global Roto Moulding still offer our trusted rainwater tanks, along with exciting new products like diesel trailers and on-site diesel tanks, where quality meets innovation. Global Roto Moulding, Coolong Avenue, Irimple.